It's 10 o'clock. We are done, everybody. We will be back to share. If you like the format, you don't like the format. If you want to see something change, send me a back channel of families. A great remainder of the weekend. And let's close with this.
Jesus in Aramaic. Isn't Chaldean related to Aramaic? I mean, I could be wrong. Someone can look it up.
I mean, you could go deeper than that. I just know it's all Phoenician. Phoenician is not a people, it's a language.
Man, what do you mean Phoenician is not a people? He doesn't know for certain. Break that down for me.
They're telling you that if you've ever heard of Phoenician with a people, that's false. Phoenician is not a people, it's a language. It's like Hebrew is not a people, Hebrew is a language.
Wait. You're saying Phoenicians didn't exist as people in the ancient world?
No, they were not Phoenicians.
That's right.
What does the word shalom mean to you? What does the word shalom mean to you? What does shalom mean to you? Wait.
Get together. You're doing good. Shalom, I don't know. What's that word? Can you put it in the chat?
Wait.
It's a blessing. I'm done. The Redskins are about to come on. I can't do anymore. This is too much. I can't do it.
The Bills are coming on. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I got them all on. I got like 5 games on at one time.
This man said he is a Phoenician by what way of the Chaldean, who is also an American indigenous African from
he said
who's also more.
This is one of the but the cradle of civilization was over here.
Yes, this is the cradle of civilization. Look at today.
So what did the Chaldeans and Phoenicians give us at the cradle of civilization? So why are you all up into them? What languages from the New World do you speak?
From the New World is English.
No, what indigenous languages from the ancient world? I'm sorry, from the ancient world of what is now the New World. I mean, like from over here, from like 1500 BC. What are those languages? Nahuatl or whatever, like the Aztec language. Is that the cradle of civilization? Or?
Well, it's where English come from. It's called Algonquin.
What does that have to do with the question? I'm confused.
You just asked me. Yo. Are you being politically correct or what?
No. English comes from no. You said that's where English. You said that's where English. You said that's where English comes from, Algonquin. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, see, you have to understand, though.
So how come when Columbus
they started here, but they ended over there. Yeah, English started here and it went over there.
Correct.
Oh, that's what he's saying?
Yeah.
Into a telephone pole?
That's what's happening.
It's okay, man. He learning something new.
Look, Courtney Fashion too. Yeah, see, what y'all don't understand is that the languages, because this is the cradle of civilization, right? The languages started here and then moved over there. So Courtney is crashing in the chat talking about English is a Germanic language. Exactly. Yeah, this is the cradle of civilization.
Does this look like a baby?
The baby? Are you okay?
See, we can't.
Okay, you said just the cradle of civilization. Be critically correct.
Oh, God. Yeah, thank you. I'm just trying to read. I hope I'm capturing what you're saying. I'm trying to understand as well, Laura. But that's what I hear you saying. Is that correct? So it started here, so it would make sense that even the things that develop over there actually came from over here. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, brother. Because inside the Grand Canyon, we can find ancient temples of all these religions. The temple of Vishnu, the temple of Brahma, the temple of Krishna, the temple of Shiva, the temple of Osiris, the temple of Isis, the Holy Grail temple.
Wait, did you say a temple of Isis in the Grand Canyon? Isis from ancient Egypt?
Yes, this is ancient Egypt.
Like, why are you having a problem with this?
Wait, did you also say Vishnu?
Yes, brother.
As in Hinduism?
Yes.
Person, y'all do this on purpose.
Hold on. Let's ask a question.
Listen.
Lord knows, how did the temples get in the Grand
The
Canyon?
Bhagavad Gita was made by a nigga down the street.
Lord, how did all the temples get in the Grand Canyon?
Mr. Earl made the Bhagavad Gita.
The Grand Canyon, they found many caves that house cities, like a whole over 50,000 people at a time in the Grand Canyon.
But how did they get there, brother?
See, this is the history y'all never learned before.
See, that's the history y'all, because y'all about the white man history. Lord, how did they get there?
Our people built these temples and worship over time. We're talking about thousands, 100,000 of years. But the people mainly lived inside the Grand Canyon because the giants roamed the land.
Y'all give them a hard time, but what you don't recognize is there was the internet before the flood. They already had an internet. The flood took it out.
Now, see, brother CEO, you're not being genuine.
That's a fact.
You being disingenuous.
Hold on, Lord.
You playing on this man's top. I don't appreciate it.
So the giants roamed the land, and they had it. They was hiding out in the Grand Canyon.
MJ, don't get mad.
Trying to piece it together now.
Don't get mad because he's out hotepping your ass.
No, listen,
Normally you the top hotep.
I'm trying to get knowledge, brother. I'm trying to elevate.
Fall back.
You know what I'm saying?
So
this brother clearly has the knowledge that's going to elevate me. Now,
giants had libraries and everything. Do you think man was the first beings on this plane?
Come on, man. Let him.
Giants had libraries and everything. And the Smithsonian was hiding all this truth.
Y'all finally getting it. You getting it. You see that? Y'all getting it. Y'all getting it.
if the giants had all the knowledge in the books, how big are the?
They was big. They was giant size books. Look at them.
Oh man, why would you ask a question like that? He's not serious. He's actually not serious. He over here trying to
play.
And he playing bad because when he said he spoke Chaldean, I gave him a Chaldean greeting. He didn't even know what it was. I'm from the land of Chaldeans, the Mecca, which is Detroit. Well, I'm not really from Detroit. I'm from Michigan.
I could do numerology, Chaldean numerology. Boy. That's where I got it from, Chaldean numerology.
Highest shower.
That's my name in
I
Chaldean.
guess so, Patty.
If you can speak that language, and get back with the empire, it was good. Like the Moroccan national government is here. This is the crest of Chief Minister Phoenix. And you see in this crest, you see the crescent of the star, which represents Islam, our self-born master. That's organic religion or organic preservation. You see the yin and the yang represents, day and night. The next one over is represents agriculture and cultivation, and the one below that represents the Cherokee lineage, a tribe. This is the crest she made, and her family crest goes back to when 1444, when we were Ills, Bays, Days, Owls, and Alis, the 5 noble titles in this land. 5 noble titles became the 5 civilized tribes.
Oh shit!
We was already civilized. When I say civilized, they became United States citizens. That's when it became civilized under their rule, under their jurisdiction.
Peace, brother.
He dropped that mic.
See, I told y'all, man, y'all listening to too fucking much, man. Y'all gotta get the real knowledge.
MJ, you're trying too hard. It's not sincere.
It's not even.
Now, see, unlike this pale, unmelanated man they call MAGA, top right, who has beasts on his family crest because he is a beast. You, in fact, do not have beasts. You have animals, but you're not an animal, right? And so there's a difference.
Right. Because they have meanings to them. Their whole energies. That's why
Exactly.
the ancient Egyptians
Exactly.
depicted as animal pictures and stuff like that. They didn't look like that. They're describing their essence or the energy at that time. Like Horus was a falcon and stuff.
Yep. No, exactly. Whereas on MAGA's family crests, those beasts were depictions of what his ancestors actually looked like. Yeah, no. It was a literal. It was literal. Yeah, no, I get you.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so enjoy your space.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Look at that.
What a blessing. What a blessing. I've never seen me so defeated. So
That's twice in one week. V did it.
so surely.
Now Lord knows. Lord knows.
That's all that knowledge.
Take you right on out.
It is.
That's how you gotta do it sometimes. Hey CEO, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hey Robert, how are you?
Peace. What's up, man? How y'all doing? What's the science? What's today's mathematics, man? Y'all good?
Not this.
Oh, First Lady, I did hear you earlier, and yes, I was taking a nap. No, you cannot use your HSA to pay for insurance premiums. I'm not sure why Fanye said that, since he has a full insurance agency. You can pay your deductible. There are special circumstances you can use it to pay premiums, like COBRA if you're unemployed.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no, that was not good information.
At all. But when we tried to tell him that, he left, he came back, and he was like, all right, you're right about that. But still try to sell us the same plan and idea without the caveat of understanding that won't work.
Well, that's a little scary considering he has an insurance agency, but there you go. A lot of people don't know the nuances of those plans, so we'll give him a pass.
Well, you too nice. You're too nice.
But he probably meant deductible, but people don't understand the difference between the premium and the deductible.
No.
He triple, double, somersault. Really?
Yes.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I wasn't even here, and I could tell that was some bullshit.
No. The conversation was this, Reform. He came up and literally started asking, well, shouldn't we be thinking about something outside of Obamacare because it's just a failed program? When we were literally talking about this current problem with the subsidies ending at the end of this month, and they have by Thursday to figure this out, right? We was listening to Meet the Press. And that's where we were. His question was, well, we need to come up with a different plan. So Maya asked him, well, what's the solution? He gave us that as the solution, saying that this is what they're talking about on Capitol Hill.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes.
Everybody stupid. Oh, no, he didn't. Well,
yes.
The good Lord had me asleep or I would have been hollering.
Yes, he definitely would have lost his mind. And then when we kept trying to give him information instead of him receiving it, he thought that we just wasn't trying to listen to him. But we did listen to him and then came back and told him why it wouldn't work.
Well, thank you. Is it Tiandria?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You can wow. DJ, let me send him a back channel and tell him he's misrepresenting himself. That's scary.
Oh, then it got real crazy.
Stop that bullshit.
You can use your HSA to pay. You can use your HSA to pay for your car insurance.
What?
I was like, what?
Oh my God. Nigeria, not here in the United States.
But in the process of that, called me dumb and MAGA dumb because I asked the question, because he kept, for a long time, we couldn't even figure out what he was talking about. And I kept hearing him say HSA, and I was like, why does he keep mentioning an actual plan versus Affordable Care Act? So then when we actually... wait a minute, Robert, you wasn't here. 1 second. And then when I heard, I said, wait a minute. I said, the HSA, I said, that's the problem. I said, you can't, so Megan said, so you want us to pay for the premiums through the HSA? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, you can't do that. Oh, you guys are dumb. You're dumb. You're stupid. No. And that's when everything went downhill from there. But that was his claim to fame, that you could pay for your insurance through your HSA.
I put a poll up top, y'all. If we want to do the James Baldwin versus William Buckley debate, won't play the whole hour straight through. We'll probably break it in between every 10 minutes. So cast your vote so we can I think it's really good. That would be a good thing to watch on Chatter, but I know it's hard to migrate over there because I like James Baldwin's expressions to watch it.
Yeah, you got to see the facial expressions when he speaks, right? You got to see the facial expressions. Yeah. It's a really good debate. That's when you had true conservatives. That's when conservatives were conservatives during that era. I don't know, these days people call themselves conservatives and they're not really Republican conservatives in the traditional sense. Republicans are no longer really Republicans anymore. They've converted to MAGA. Right? And I don't think we emphasize that transition enough. I really don't. We're working with old titles and old categories and parties when a new party has emerged. MAGA cult has emerged, and we need to really identify it. And they're going to identify what this thing is. Yeah. It would be a good thing. I don't know, Mud. Yeah, I don't. Mud wrote that in the chat. I want to read what he said. Hold on. He said, when did being conservative or Republican become a good thing? I don't know. I couldn't answer that question. I don't know if that was for me, Mud, but I don't know.
We've always had black conservatives.
Yeah, but he's saying when did it become a good thing? So I'm thinking he's
in the 1860s. In the 1860s. I mean, I don't understand the question. What now?
I don't understand it either. I don't understand it, but I don't know if he's thinking that we are saying that it is a good thing. Maybe I don't know if he was basing on my comment, but I didn't say it was a good thing at all. I was just speaking to the fact of what the change was, because I used to read a lot about Mr. Buckley. I used to read a lot about those dudes, those conservatives, him and a few others, and I wouldn't consider myself their type of conservative. When I say I'm a conservative, it is definitely not the definition of those guys. You know what I learned today? I learned that Trump's company made $54 million in 2024, and in 2025, and the year hasn't come to an end. Can anybody guess how much money they made this year so far? Give me a number. Yeah, $864 million. That's how much money they made this year. $864 million.
Which company made that much?
Trump's company, one of his companies, right? So to give you context on
which one, do you know which one?
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna put it in the PTR. So bear with me. I'm gonna speak while I set that up. So here's the thing. So a gain like that, right? It's about 1,600%, right? And if you do a comparison to another successful company, Nvidia, they only were up, I think, 20 something, no, 50. I forgot. They're like, you know, they've done well in the market. And so if you do a comparison, you can see how problematic this is. 800 last year, before he came into the White House, the company was making $51 million, and we are in December, right? We're in December, rounding out. So he went from that to almost $1 billion. $1 billion, and it's crazy. I'm gonna put a few things in the. I can give you this.
So Robert, just one thing: you can't compare it to the scale of NVIDIA because NVIDIA did what 60 billion last year, so it's a lot easier to scale from 50 million to 60 billion. So that's not a good comparison.
Right. Well, I didn't do the scaling. The scaling was reported. Somebody did the scaling, so you can look at my PTR and see the difference. But so I put two pictures up, but yeah, I myself didn't do this comparison. I was just watching a report, and they did the scaling themselves. Let me do it. Hold on, I took the wrong one. This is the one y'all want to see. It's this one right here. Boom. Okay. Yeah, so I have two images in there. So yeah, if you look at the image, first half of the year income. Oh damn, I didn't know it was first half. So first half of yearly income for the Trump organization last year was 51 million, and this year, and this is for the first half, 864 million.
Oh, these are all the organizations combined. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm glad you helped us clarify that because I didn't have an answer to your question, but thank you for the clarification. I was just trying to catch the images.
I wonder how much of that was off the Trump coin because that's such a big jump. I can't imagine what other than that would have.
A large portion of it was money from the coin. Yes, they did name a few sources, and they were talking about a deal. You know, basic. What is it? Quid pro quo. Did I say it right?
Yes.
A lot of that. A lot of those were foreign dollars. From unidentified sources. So yeah, I mean, I just can't wait until we unravel the corruption that is now live and happening right now in real time. I just can only imagine. It's crazy because I know somebody out there is smart enough to be keeping up with all of this, and I can't wait to see those reports and those studies. I'm sure it's going to be disgusting. I'm sure it's going to show us the degree of greed that this administration operates under.
Well, the wildest part is Hunter Biden didn't do anywhere near as well as Eric and Donald Jr.
Yeah, he like Hunter Biden. I mean, let's be honest. He's not the brightest guy in the room, right? Neither are Trump's sons. I think they're just parrots. Like
I think Hunter was looking for a job.
Yeah, he wasn't that bright. He wasn't. I mean, this guy was not terribly sophisticated. And I don't know about any of you, but if my dad were the president of the United States, I certainly would leverage that freaking connection. Now, I wouldn't be on no scam shit and nothing like that. I'm not saying that, but certainly my business interests would benefit. I mean, I would do it in a legitimate way. But who is not going to leverage the fact that their parents and their family is running the country? Like, that's a no-brainer. I don't know the details of I've heard what he's I heard about what he's done, but I didn't have any concern that he was involved in anything that sophisticated. I think whatever he did, because he's not too bright, is a simple audit. Like, you could connect the dots with great ease. Because again, his son is just not the brightest at all. And I remember listening to Donald Trump's daughter, and when she would speak, everyone would be in awe of her. And I'm listening to her. I'm like, all she freaking doing is parroting. She ain't that deep, and she ain't that smart. Y'all caught up because she's attractive, this, that, and the third. She has that look, and fucking people fall for it. There was no substance in the words that she was speaking. But people just bought into this whole image that they were looking at. And we see that a lot.
Yeah, I thought she was totally going to run for president. And I think Ivanka might actually be the first woman that the right would vote for. But anyhow.
Yeah, but would you have reform in all due respect?
All right, wait a minute, hold up. All right, 1 second. Hey, Steve, welcome. All right, if y'all can, we're gonna take 30 seconds out for y'all to vote. Cast your vote now, so we can close this out and move forward with the conversation and what we're gonna do and get back, if you will. Take 30 seconds. Welcome to Politically Correct. It is Sunday, December 7th, 2026. We're going to get back to the conversation. We're going to turn it back over to Rob and Reform. They're going to finish the conversation. But I want to know, do you want to listen to this? Yes or no? If you don't, then that's fine. We'll continue with this conversation. If you do want to listen to it, we'll prepare it and we'll get started. Those 30 seconds are almost up. All right. We got 10 seconds left. Cast your vote. Cast your vote now. In 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Poll is over. All right, back to you guys. Go ahead, Robert.
I like that feature. You got the background of violins going on. Look at you in your production. Okay, I see you. So like for example, you take a person who can think in real time. That's one of the reasons why I like this space, because people are not just making shit up. People are really synthesizing in real time, and we go back and forth, and we analyze things. We make adjustments. in real time. A lot of us are not, when we're corrected, we can acknowledge that shit. We ain't in our egos. Certainly, I've done that plenty of times, right? So what I'm saying to you, Reform, is that ain't, what's her name, Ivanka, she could never do that. Like, she could never be, if you were to have a conversation with her, I don't think she's capable of just being spontaneous and speaking off the top. She would just rely on talking points and repeating something that she heard from somewhere. Whereas a person like you and others, y'all can think on the fly in real time, and you can put things together. And so while she may want to run for presidency, I think she would be exposed immediately during a basic press conference, for example, or any reporter that knew what they were doing. She would just simply fold, is the point that I wanted to make. What are your thoughts about that, sis?
I'm arguing in the chat. I'm sorry, Robert.
They distracted you.
I appreciate. Yes, I can't. Well, to be perfectly honest, I was never one of those people that can multitask well. So, we can take that discussion on. But I think Ivanka is intelligent. I think she's the success behind her father's companies when they were successful.
Sorry, Nikki. Why do you think the budget has to be balanced, just for balance sake?
I don't think it has to. Well, because I mean, how can you ever really get a grasp on what you are spending unless you have a balanced budget, right? Debt is debt. I know it's very trendy right now. We love to say, OPM. I'm sorry, wrong combo. I mean, how can you fully function without a balanced budget? And I think that there's a lot of overspending, not in the way that Trump thinks they're overspending, because corporate cuts to me are just taking $1, giving $1 away that we really don't have. I don't think that Trump is fiscally conservative. I don't think that he cares that he's adding to the deficit. That's why he's also not a traditional Republican. I think we needed the balance between Republicans and Democrats, where Republicans tend to be fiscally conservative.
No, sorry, but
in the past.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm asking specifically why you have such an emphasis on balanced budgets, and your response was that we need to understand how we spend money.
How do you do that without a balanced budget?
You read the legislation; it tells you what you're spending it on.
Yeah, like you already know what you're spending the money on. The budget doesn't have to be balanced for you to know where that money is going, right?
Are you aware that there are, the Pentagon has not survived an audit, in a decade? So
what does that mean?
It means that they don't know what the fuck. It means that they don't know what the fuck they're spending their money on, and they have $1 billion that are missing. That's what that means.
So you
When
think
you don't pass an audit, that's a bad
wait,
thing.
hold on, 1 second. So you think balancing the budget will give us better insight into how the Pentagon spends money?
Balancing a budget gives you insight regardless, whether it's the federal spending, state spending, like county spending. I'm answering your question. You just don't like my responses. No, I'm telling you. Like, this is what I'm saying. Yes, I am an advocate for balanced budgets, whether it's corporations, whether it's personal, whether it's the Fed, whether it's a federal agency. Yes, because otherwise you're not keeping track of the debt. Legislation is just tracking spending. It does not track the debt, which is why we have such a huge deficit. I'm not in favor of kicking the can down the road, which this is all that we've been. Do you know what we're paying in terms of our debt, and then we're pissing off these other countries and they're not investing as much in the United States? This is a problem that we're just pushing on to our children and grandchildren, and they're going to have to deal with it one day.
Now, we're asking how balancing a budget tracks the expenditure at the departmental or governmental entity level. So you can have a balanced budget and still fail an audit. So if I raise revenue to balance the budget, and the $1 trillion goes to the Pentagon, it's still not accounted for. Balancing a budget doesn't keep track of anything. That's just the balancing inlay versus outlay.
Yeah, but you also your debt is typically included in a budget. I don't mean the Madoff accounting version that the feds do. I mean, if you actually went to an accountant or someone like forensic accounting that actually tracked everything. A balanced budget would include your debt. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, so you think the budget is imbalanced now because we don't understand how our debt is structured and its costs?
I don't think we give a shit about how our debt is structured and its costs.
But they have to by law.
Oh, really? Well, then...
Yeah, that's what the whole debt ceiling fight is about. Treasury...
So then why do they just keep extending the debt ceiling?
Because they have fiat currency, and we're one of the few countries that have that.
You're the U.S. That's why.
So are you arguing that is solving the problem, or just kicking the can down the road, which is what I said?
It's the can. I don't know.
What are you talking about? When you extend the debt ceiling, you're not addressing it. You're not eradicating it. You're just making an arbitrary number go higher. Like the last time we had a balance.
Get rid of the debt ceiling.
Well, I don't agree.
What do you need a debt ceiling for? It creates unnecessary political tension, and you get bad legislation.
Well, no, we're just saying that's the legislation that what's in place. Look, I know that y'all it's Sunday and
what is the can being kicked down the road? Paying off the debt?
The debt is increasing on a daily basis.
I understand that, but what is the can that's being kicked, I'm asking?
The debt.
Oh, but you can pay off the debt and not have a balanced budget. You could actually pay off debt and still have a deficit.
Okay.
You don't think so?
That is definitionally true.
You can pay off debt and still have a deficit? What we were talking about was like fiscal conservatism just in general. Are you speaking about the federal government?
That would be fiscal conservatism. What else would it be if not federal or state spending?
Fiscal conservatism literally is a balanced budget, lower spending, and monitoring debt. Is that what we're doing right now?
Well, no. When I think fiscal conservatism, I think of laissez-faire economics.
Well, that's what I'm saying, which is why I put an AI generated. Mud, you literally reference a book when it comes to economics, please. Would you come up here and have the conversation? You're always in the chat.
With the government's audit, like you brought up.
I put this.
Let me tell you a secret, babe, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you were to compare the audit or the losses of the Department of Defense on their audits, we do way better than these major corporations. Y'all don't even understand the audit scope or even our financial systems. So y'all can talk this crazy shit, but the missing money isn't embezzlement. We're not frauding. A lot of this shit, like, y'all really, if you even look at how we have over $3.8 trillion of assets, period. And you, that little number that they fucking show on in these newspapers, That ain't shit, bro. Or sis.
I mean, NVIDIA is worth $5 trillion, sis. We have multiple trillion-dollar corporations.
They're very transparent with how this shit works, and I promise you, the Department of Defense or our audits ain't shit compared to what a lot of these corporations that do actually publish theirs. Because a lot of them keep it secret. Y'all think I think y'all just see a bunch of numbers on TV and don't even understand how it works. And then bringing up accountants, you think we don't have fucking accountants? What's going on here?
I mean, Biden
have forensic accountants.
Right, but Biden,
our accountants actually, a lot of them have to have a fucking clearance. So these people are like, I don't even get it. Like this should be funny. I be listening to y'all. I've read those newspaper articles. We've had arguments with MAGAs on this stages about what the budget looked like. I mean, like the amount of audits that we do just within a region doesn't even amount to the shit that y'all. We do so many goddamn audits. We audit fucking monthly. And that's just internal, not to include the external contracted individuals that audit the U.S. government.
Can we frame this argument a little bit, guys? Because I'm stuck between the federal, our budget for the country, our defense. Can y'all just frame it a little bit for me? So, thank you for us.
Can I ask, what is the problem with reading books about it?
Hold on. I want to frame the argument, brother. Pardon me, Matt. I'm just trying to get a framework.
I'm not really sure. There was a conversation in the chat about debt is definitely not dead for the U.S. government. I mean, I'm a purist when it comes to numbers. Balance, right? Checks and balances. And plus, I'm old school. That's how I was taught.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mandatory and required. Whether you're a federal. Okay, everyone wants to talk. Go right ahead.
So Robert, my initial question was whether or not. So I came on stage to ask Miki, Reformed, whether or not why she was so interested in balancing budgets and why balancing budgets was an inherently good thing. That was the initial sort of question. And then before responding and saying a couple of things, she said about, we need to have balanced budgets in order to understand how money is being allocated in various departments. One example being the DOD, and it's notoriously failed audits every now and again. I didn't really understand that point, and then the conversation just kept going. Hopefully that.
Thank you, guys. Okay, thank you. Hope that helped everyone else as well.
Okay, so can I get my question answered about why it's a bad thing to read books about economics? Keynes wrote books.
Right. No, you just constantly reference that one book. I mean, economics is
most of the books, but that's like the easiest book for people like you to understand.
I don't need to read a book to understand economics. I mean, economics when you're looking. Are you gonna allow me to speak? So when I'm speaking of not theoretical, right? If we're talking about numbers, we're talking about actual live data, which can change over time. Trends change over time, right? Monetary theory, when you implement it, it's not necessarily something that we can say, well, this is what this book says about how this should flow and how this should work. Because this is why I'm such a fan of Jerome Powell. You have to be able to understand what's going on, and then you have to be able to make changes. I think that cryptocurrency, for example, is going to change some standards. We're already seeing a lot of legislation and changes in terms of utilizing cryptocurrency. 20 years ago, we probably wouldn't have even taken it very seriously. But now, the federal government literally has legislation addressing what happens with corporations that are going to use their own altcoins. JP Morgan Chase just came out and said that they're coming out with a version of their coin, which is going to allow for real-time transactions to occur within a matter of minutes in terms of wires, which typically used to take 24 hours. That's what I'm saying. So if we want to have like a theoretical discussion versus a practical, I'm not really good for the theoretical discussion because I'm too immersed in the current day data. So yeah, I'm not the person for that
Okay,
conversation.
so how about we just focus on whether or not fiscal conservatism is good for
Well,
people?
Okay, then go make your argument.
Okay, so you're not into like the theory, and you think like theory is not also developed based on like analysis of the past and how things have played out in the past?
No, I'm not into theory. I'm into practical, actual numbers. When you visit with a financial,
So what if the
accountant,
Our debt is not
yeah,
your bills you pay at home. Like we print our own goddamn money, right? So like,
which is also a problem, Patty.
But
How's that a
if
problem?
we were to stay within a balanced budget, right? Like this, what would happen? Okay. If we happen to go into a recession, let's just say we go into a recession. What's going to happen to spending? This is all behind this balanced budget thing. What's going to happen to spending?
What happens to spending?
You just said you're not a fan of printing money. What would happen to spending?
Spending goes down.
Right, it stops. So like people say this shit, but like
I wouldn't say stop. I say slow down.
Yeah, it could slow down, it could stop, whatever. I'm just being like a little dramatic, but like when I understand like the balanced budget argument sometimes, right? But then like, what does it look like for like how our country invests?
For me, we could grow organically and based off of your profit. So like when you make money selling widgets, right? You build it for $1, you sell it for $2, you have $1 in profit. You could grow organically based on profit, or you could take that dollar and get leverage, right? Where you now can go get $100 based on that $1 in profit, and then you use that to grow. So I think
how the U.S. would. So
same thing.
Even with our debt, U.S. sells like bonds and shit.
Yeah, that's them going out and getting more leverage or future money today, and future money is good for growth today. And then you have the alternative argument to just grow organically a little bit over time. And people just don't want to do that. They want to see growth today. They want to see exponential growth today. And I take it that our growth is exponential because when you have two people, you can immediately make 3 people, 4 people, 5 people in the space of like 5 years. So that's like an exponential growth, right? That's not like a gradual growth. So I think similarly, your infrastructure and your services also have to grow exponentially, right? Because families can grow exponentially, therefore services should grow exponentially. Maybe that's the argument. And in order to grow exponentially, you're not going to be able to do it organically through your profits. You're going to need to, leverage the future with that. And so I guess there's always that war, that balance between those two philosophies.
So I just put in the chat a link that we all can use regarding the government budget. It's an interesting tool. Hold on. It's a good tool for us to have this conversation because we can all immediately look at what the other one discovers in this link. So there's a link in the chat where we can have a real conversation that shows the data, et cetera, et cetera. I just put
this isn't just about the data. We're talking about like this misunderstood concept when it comes to like economics and politics, like how people like to use like our government debt as like they think our government debt is like how you live at home, how you pay your bills.
I understand, and we know.
Okay,
politically. Let me respond.
Go ahead, Mel wanted to say something.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say.
Can you go on mute, Mud? Go ahead, Mel.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that, like, Patty, you make a good point. Like, people should try to like impose their view on, like, microeconomics concepts onto like government spending. Like the government is like a unique entity insofar as that like a dollar spent by the government is not the same. It has a multiplier effect, right? Because like essentially when the government prints money and spends money in the broader market, right, there is a greater increase in real GDP and real economic growth versus a company doing the same thing, just because of the fact that the government can print money and the multiplier effect that we have. And so like debt isn't this big bad wolf that some people make it out to be. And I've always found it a little strange that Americans who have the enviable position of being the world's superpower, who have the currency that is used for transactions across the world, have this like aversion to leveraging their enviable position of being the world financial currency. That gives you the ability to issue debt, right, at some of the best levels and leverage that for broader economic growth. But somehow we end up in a situation where like we like nickel and dime ourselves about balancing budgets and making sure that the inputs equal the outputs, and like we have to be very concerned about rising debt levels. I think it's a little bit overblown, and maybe because I'm young, I don't I haven't experienced some of the crises that older people have. But I think that you guys should use the leverage that you innately have and use it for good. Thank you.
Okay, so here's the thing. Hold on, I gotta jump.
You said,
Yeah, Patty, I'm sorry. I just got to jump in. So here's what's going on. So now, based on what the Molly just said, right? We have been hearing for years from the Republican Party how important it is to balance the budget. They make a pointed effort to tell the American people that our budget isn't balanced, we owe too much, and we need to reduce the debt. I think we all can agree that has been the Republican cry for, the past 30 or 40 years or even more. However, with this new administration, they're not even talking about the importance of a balanced budget, so on and so forth. That's not even being discussed. When we look at balancing budgets, just so you know, the importance, like as far as the United States of America, when other countries are seeking to invest in the instruments that we produce, our treasuries, so on and so forth, and other financial instruments, they look at our balance sheet, determine the risk-reward ratio. Is the country bidding in a manner that is going to ensure that our investment is going to yield us the return that we are looking for? These are decisions that sovereign investors look at. They look at that data to determine whether or not they want to keep buying our treasuries, so on and so forth. So it does matter, right? Because that's what they look at. Right? Now, with public companies don't have the leeway that the United States had. The United States can simply, via Congress, decide to increase the debt ceiling. The Treasury has tools that it can use. The Fed has tools that it can use. Like, we have different tools that can be used merely because it's the United States and they have those powers. Private companies are different. We can't just finagle our numbers to pass an audit, for example. We have stringent rules that have to be abided by. We don't have that leeway to play with numbers like that. And I think reform, that's a little bit of what she was trying to, I guess, express. But it does matter. Our budgets do matter. Debt does matter. And what we've been doing is basically kicking it down the road. And I remember doing some research on it. The deficit has increased year over year for the past at least 30 years. That's through every administration. It's gone up. It hasn't really gone down. I think 1 year it went down a little bit. But budgets do matter. Deficits do matter. It seems like it's just paper. It seems like we can just issue currency. But the reality is, at some point, it will come to a grinding halt. At some point, it will affect us in a negative way. I'll
What point would that be?
Yeah, I think
Who knows?
just one second.
Who knows?
I think somebody was making a point in the chat, and yes, I've heard people refer to fiscal conservatism and things other than the federal government. With my HOA, we talk about being fiscally conservative whenever we go over our annual budget because I've been on the board of my HOA and we have to have a balanced budget. We have to, we don't have to get debt approved, but it functions like a little mini form of government in that you have to be extremely transparent. So we've had to get loans before to finance debt, so forth and so on, right? No, the HOA, but we can increase dues, which we've done. I'm not being literal, and I think that's part of the problem. No, we do not print money, but we have the ability to generate additional income by raising them. This is the okay. One second. I'm not cooking, y'all. Sometimes y'all just like to argue. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Y'all not about to ruin my Sunday. This is my personal opinion, by the way. What I was addressing was what Maga said in the chat, that no one uses those terms like just randomly. Yes, a lot of people do. A lot of people will say we're fiscally conservative, right? Or so that's just the reference that I'm giving the last time that I heard it mentioned in terms of being fiscally conservative. So do
people use the term financially liberal?
Yeah, HOA takes loans, Roger. We had to replace an $800,000 perimeter fence in our neighborhood, and we weren't going to use all the cash that we have because we have been fiscally conservative for 20 years. So, yeah, we took a loan for almost $1 million to pay for our perimeter fence that needed to be updated. The fuck?
Okay, so if people use the term financially conservative for personal household budgets, what would financially progressive or financially liberal be?
I mean, I'm not sure if you would use the term financially liberal. Is that a term like that we would apply? Financially liberal? Like, what is that? Like you like
Keynesian economics.
Liberally?
Like Keynesian economic, what liberally?
Well, in terms of government, that means that we are going to be pretty liberal and free spending with the money to assist in commerce, to assist in crises. I mean, isn't the United States pretty much a combination of both? I would say being fiscally conservative and fiscally liberal.
One is more politicized than the other. You don't hear that term that you use. You don't hear that term.
Oh man!
Like, why can't
what's going on today? I was
conversation. Like, what is going on? He was talking about your household. Why wouldn't we use fiscally liberal for your household?
But what's fiscally liberal mean? I mean, you have standard spending. You have fiscally conservative where you don't
anything. That's the point.
Okay, I don't. All right, then why did he ask the question?
Because that means financially conservative doesn't mean anything.
Financially conservative doesn't mean anything?
No, not for individual households. It just means staying in your budget. Financial fiscal. The word fiscal has to do with like budgetary policy, taxing, spending, inlay, outlay. Like we can't do that at the individual level.
Okay, my apologies. I work with a lot of accountants and individuals like that, and they definitely use the terms fiscally conservative when describing certain kinds of spending. So,
and they're silly.
My apologies. I just gave you an example. Like our HOA budget, we literally had somebody who is an accountant. We literally had somebody who was an accountant, and that is the terminology that they used when she was presenting it, like to our neighbors. She said, your board is fiscally conservative, so we added like $150,000 to our reserve funds for that year. Like that's what she said. Like that's what I've heard people use that term before. Yeah.
So a board that's different, what would the term be to use to describe them?
There's not necessarily a term to describe that. I mean, if you're just doing your standard spending, I suppose. I don't understand, but if people in certain professions use these terms and you're not familiar with it, it's okay, guys. Like, it's okay. Every industry has their own terms. But I'm telling you what the woman said.
So
I have her number. You want me to get her on the phone and ask her why she said she's fiscally conservative?
I understand that. Maybe she did. But what I'm asking is, if this is a term of art, what is the term to describe boards and HOAs and other entities at the non-governmental level that are not financially conservative? There has to be a term for it.
I don't know if
otherwise, how would you describe them?
I don't know if there's a term for that. We know what fiscally conservative means.
That's just the standard.
I think
Fiscally conservative is a standard? No, I don't agree.
I think what happened is
I don't agree that fiscally conservative is a standard.
In their budget.
I think what happened,
and when they can print money.
I think what happens is we bandy about these type of talking points.
Is that what y'all are concerned about?
And what we do is we investigate what's really underlying these talking points, and then we find that it's a big nothing burger because no one ever thought about what it actually means. It's fine. We could just, we grew a little today. We could just move on.
So the original thing came up when people were saying it'd be good for Black people to be financially conservative. It'd be good to have it for conservatism is good for Black people. I said I disagree because when I hear conservative and like whole groups of people, I'm thinking as a political philosophy at the governmental level. So y'all just talking about like it'd be good for Black people to not have credit card debt?
Yeah. That's what I interpreted. It's good for Black people to be, good stewards of their money. Yeah.
You don't need a name for that. That's just
what. No, look, there is a definition. Being financially conservative means prioritizing caution and risk aversion in financial decisions such as spending, saving, and investing. This often involves advocating for lower taxes and government spending, while in personal finance, it means preferring low-risk investments and like savings accounts and avoiding debt. So apparently it is a thing.
So God,
hold on. I've never heard that before.
I don't like the definition.
Well, because you've never heard it, it doesn't exist. Come on, guys.
Let me know exactly what you just said. I've never heard that using savings accounts is financial conservatism.
So let me jump in here.
1 second, Robert. Actually, yes. I've never heard that not having credit card debt described as financial conservatism in a discussion on groups of people.
Well, yes, of course, because you have, like, for example, even, and I'm going to seg to wealth management, but you have like portfolios that are literally called fixed income. So we know that you might have balance 50-50, 70-30, which is typically like 70% equities, 30% income or bond funds, right? 50-50. You also have something called like 90-10, where you have 90% fixed income, which is typically going to be bonds, treasuries, CDs, whatever, and maybe 10% equities, right? So yeah, that's called being with your investing, you're very conservative. So yeah, you have some.
Okay, can I?
Well, probably MAGA because. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Wait, just 1 second. So of course MAGA, because remember how we were talking about the lifestyle funds the other day, or the target date. Because most people, there is recommended information about where you are in terms of what you should invest in. So it's kind of like, should a 90-year-old be invested in Bitcoin? No, because that's too aggressive. So in that vein, in terms of investing, yes, there is aggressive and there is conservative. In that vein, yes. In that vein.
Let me jump in here.
Hold on, Robert.
No,
Robert, 1 second, Robert.
I don't Robert, it's fine. Nikki, obviously all of us in here know what conservative investing is, but the adjective fiscal relates usually, in most parlance, we're talking about people around tax policy and spending policy, budgetary policy. So when people say fiscal conservative, they're not talking about fixed income. In my TD Ameritrade account.
No, I would agree, MAGA. No, 1 second, Robert. I would agree, MAGA, MAGA. I do think that some terms have been appropriated, and I would agree that have been applied outside of as they are meant to be utilized. I will concede that point. I will agree. Yes.
So and now Jazzy's saying reading the definition. So even based on that definition, Jazzy, it wouldn't be good for Black people.
So there are two things.
So Black people should not, as a people, be 90% in bonds. So even if you go to investment, that doesn't work. So even if Robert, what's going on?
Because y'all going so
He wants to help. He wants to help.
Well, you have to be quiet and listen.
Listen goes on mute. He will help out.
You weren't here for the conversation, so you don't understand the connection.
I understand.
Securities in 06.
So first of all,
Robert,
please.
You gotta listen. This is the problem. You're just talking to me talking. You gotta listen.
No. This is not.
He wants to show us his expertise.
No. With fiscal responsibility.
No, this is not that. Patty, this is not that. I promise.
No, you're not paying attention. Yo, that's what it is. Just go on mute and let them have the conversation.
I'm paying full attention. First of all, let's be clear. I'm going to speak on this because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. As a licensed financial advisor.
I knew it.
Okay, go ahead. We already have a financial.
He want to show off his expertise.
So go ahead, MAGA. And
I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Let's bring Robert back up. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. These people have to give you their resumes, man. It's so stupid. Let them do his thing.
But I mean, I got something to add. A financially conservative person benefits from government spending. So let's.
Robert, just chill, bro.
I want it because the reason why I'm on this is because I'm bringing some value to this conversation. It's real simple. Okay, let me speak.
Go ahead. Historical data, we're not confident.
Bro, there are two things. First of all, we're having two different conversations. One conversation is about.
No, you're having two different conversations.
No, you guys are. You guys
are, bro. When you were talking earlier.
Can you let me speak, Patty? Can you please just listen? Just listen to what I'm saying. We are having two conversations. One is about politics, where you hear the term fiscal conservative. Many politicians run on that. They run their whole campaigns on that particular term. I'm a fiscal conservative. I want to save us money, and we know what comes with that. That's number one. Hold on. That's number one.
Wait, Robert, it's fiscal. I'm sorry. Fiscal, not physical. Okay.
I know.
No, he got it right. Physical.
Jesus Christ. So the point that I'm making is this, right? We have never heard a politician run as a liberal with finance. They've never run on that platform ever. You would lose immediately. Now, when it comes to advising somebody of their portfolio, you're going to do a suitability analysis on that client and determine what portfolio is going to meet their needs. It falls under three categories: conservative, moderate, and aggressive. And what determines that is where the client is in their life, their age, their risk-reward ratio, all of those things.
Yeah, Mickey already said that.
And we know it because we're adults.
Right, but you guys are mixing everything together. You're mixing everything together, and that's why I came up like this. Two different conversations.
Thank you, we appreciate
it. That's it. I land.
Thank you. Thank you.
None of us could follow the conversation.
But, thank you, Robert. We appreciate it.
Whatever.
So, first of all, Robert, it's not true that politicians lose by running on spending money. That is not true.
Term. I'm saying, have you ever show me a politician that's run and said I'm a fiscal liberal? Show me one politician.
It's not a term.
Exactly, and that's the point. That's the point. We agree on that. That's the agree that I'm making.
You know what? The guy was right about Phoenicia.
They are running.
We mocked the hoteps. At least they're funny. That's not a term. It's the point. Obama started talking about being a progressive, spending money on healthcare. Did he win?
Thanks, Kim. Mamdani just won like a couple of weeks ago.
You live in a city where a man said he was. You live in a city where a man is going to be the mayor running on the thing you just said couldn't happen. Literally this month or last month. I'm done.
So I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
Spending money in
Right. So we live in an economy when we all understand that there's boom bust cycles. So when it busts and there is a down spiral in the economy, are we supposed to be like, oh, we can't have the government spend more money than it takes in taxes to like increase production or increase the economy? We're saying that we should just tighten our belt because that's not what we have done.
And haven't conservatives been the issue when it came to our like when Democrats come in, they spend money because they are investing back into the country, right? And that's how we fixed. That's how Obama fixed. At this point, y'all on Clubhouse.
I don't know, man. People want us to like take the approach that the Tories did in the UK and become a shithole like the UK. I'll never understand it.
America is like the number one in the world, right? As far as like the economy is concerned. And we've always had the government step in when there's that bust cycle. Like that's what we've done. So if you're saying we should have done something else, I need you to explain why you think that's the case.
What we need is an example of a modern economy such as ours, like being having strict austerity measures and what that looks like. And then let's just see if we want to live in that country.
We had an example.
What's it?
The UK took a strict austerity approach after 2008.
Oh, instead of being going into stimulus, spending money. Oh wow! So what happens?
And you see how anemic their growth has been, even compared to pair European countries.
But are they happy though? No.
I mean, this is why I think that the balance of the Republicans versus the Democrats, and I'm not sure what the initial argument was, semantics, whatever, but the Democrats tend to have better economies for this purpose. But I think that is also offset at times by the Republicans. Yes, Republicans tend to screw up the economy as they do regulatory cuts. They tend to lower taxes for corporations and wealthy people. I mean, that's just Republican 101. Right? They increase spending for military. I don't think that Trump is a typical Republican, however. And Democrats do tend to have more social services and programs that are funded. I personally think this is why they tend to have better economies, because they kind of share the wealth in a sense. It's not like a large percentage, but it's enough of a significant percentage to say that Democrats have better economies overall. Even Cindy Stumpo over on Chatter, who is a staunch Republican, says that she makes more money under the Democrats. People who say that they make more money under the Republicans. But she also does as well. She makes more money under the Democrats, yeah. But most people do. Anybody will tell you that Obama had an unprecedented 10-year bull run, or under Obama, I'll say we had an unprecedented 10-year bull run. So the difference to me is that Democratic presidents tend to bring in sustainable, consistent growth, right? You can't have we're just going to have an increase one year, 50% sales, because it's going to be hard to, I'm not speaking of government, obviously, but it's going to be hard to match that year over year. And that's why Obama did so well. And Republicans will tend to come in, they'll cut, and then it's not sustainable, and then it'll, collapse a little bit, and then the Democrats have to come in and fix it. So I don't think that anyone really disagrees with that, because that's what happened.
Hold on, Ben. So, 1 second. So, wait, Ben, 1 second, Ben. So, back to the start of the conversation. Reformed is fiscal conservatism, when we're talking about, federal and state policy, better for Black people? Yes or no?
I mean, it depends on what we're speaking of. I don't isolate Black people in the sense like we didn't benefit from what happened during 2008, we were disproportionately harmed, of course, because when these things happen, we tend to be the most harmed, right? The layoffs will impact us more. The foreclosures will impact us more. But I guess when you're saying like Black people, are you talking about like lower income Black people? Or are you talking about the 1%ers? Or like what is
He's
it?
talking about Black people in general.
Black people.
Like why
Black
are you acting
people in general.
confused?
I'm not acting confused because I'm like,
Get off her neck, mud.
What do you mean?
expound on what you're saying.
Why does that need to expound?
Are you saying like, wait. Are you saying like we are somehow, like we have different experiences under economic policy? Like what do you?
Yes, that's what he's saying. So when the government spends more, does that benefit Black people?
And she
Or
just
when the government
explained
spends less,
it.
does
She
that
just
benefit
said
Black
that.
people?
I don't know if you're listening to her.
All right.
She just went and conceded and said, yeah, you are. She pretty much said what it looks like under conservatives or Republicans versus Democrats. Okay, so what are you arguing with her about now? What's the argument now?
Well,
She just conceded.
just
So what's going on?
But Patty, just because it's a Democrat doesn't mean it's not fiscal conservatism.
Yeah, you're right.
Just because it's Obama doesn't mean it wasn't fiscal conservatism. Obama gave us sequestration. Obama had lots of cuts and was, I would argue, quasi austere in a lot of his fiscal
And
policies.
so did Clinton.
I know, that's exactly. So he didn't actually explain it because the parties don't align in those particular ways.
But where their cuts are is what matters, right? And where their spending is what matters. And then
We agree on spending, just not on the same line items, right? Is that basically it on both sides?
exactly.
Their line items are going to be. Go ahead. What?
No, I was just going to say Republican policies don't tend to help lower income people across the board. Do you mean that it disproportionately impacts us as Black people? But about 20% of Black people are categorized, as of I think recent data, as being quote unquote not at the poverty line, but considered lower income. So that's just what I'm pushing back on a little bit. And this is the same pushback that I give to people who say Obama didn't do anything for Black people. I'm like, what are you saying? Like, we didn't benefit from the policy. So it's the same pushback that I give. I don't really like questions like that, to be perfectly honest, because it makes it seem as if we exist outside of these policies, and if we, you know what I'm saying, like there has to be something specifically for Black people for us to benefit. That's an unpopular opinion, but it's fine. So there you go.
Can I ask a question? So when Republicans do this thing where they do tax cuts for the rich, and we understand that most Black people are not rich, are we confused about how that doesn't really benefit Black people? Or when the Democrats do some type of safety net that is going to affect lower income people, are we confused about how that's going to benefit Black people? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Most of any group isn't rich, number one. I just want to point that out. Well, okay, that needs to be said, because it's,
So if you have a side that's going to do stuff that's going to mostly impact people who aren't rich, and most people aren't rich, don't you think that's going to benefit Black people more?
I don't think that fiscal conservatism is necessarily about what is going to benefit the people in terms of government. Like, that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. It's okay for me to have my opinion.
Okay, so you're arguing about Black people. You don't give a fuck about policy that benefits Black people.
What the hell are you gonna? That's a hell of a leap, bro. What the fuck?
That's not a hell of a leap.
We can do
Exactly what you're saying.
We can
Oh my God.
But
You're the one who told me that Roth IRAs were a scam and that I was a scammer. So please don't start telling me no shit about what I think about Black people. You always say this dumb shit. What the fuck was that? You know what? You wanted me to cuss your Black ass out. What the fuck was that? I don't give a shit about Black people because I tell you that I can make a decision. No. Y'all wanted this. How the fuck are you gonna fix your nigga? You don't fucking know me. You don't fucking know me to say that shit. Like, what in the hell? You're one of those yappers that MAGA was talking about. Yap, 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 yap.
Let's get past it. Let's get past it. We're doing good.
Fuck out of here.
Kumbaya, kumbaya. Wow. But I think both are necessary. You gotta feed Wall Street because that's where our investments reside and where the money resides. And you gotta feed the people because that's where the babies reside, right? You gotta take care of Wall Street. You gotta take care of the babies. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Wall Street gets out of control. And it just can't control itself, and the government doesn't want to control it when it gets red hot, and it starts to get foolish and silly, and then we all got to pay for it. That's the only problem. If we could figure out a way to feed Wall Street and keep it in check, but then, I think that's impossible.
And I think people are getting confused with the ideology versus the behavior when you talking about fiscal conservatism or financial conservatism.
That's fair.
Right.
Concrete. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Patty.
Just because you're being good with your own money doesn't mean the government is supposed to copy you. It doesn't work like that. And that's why when you brought up the audits, I'm dude, I don't really think people, you can't compare government's behavior like a financially conservative middle class family. It's just not the same.
No, but
if you did, what's to become a Social Security?
100% agree, Patty.
Ways even student loans that we've been fighting about. You cannot. It's not a fair comparison.
No, Patty, not in the sense of
And you said this. I'm not quoting you, but you said when the government cuts spending, people lose income, right?
No, but there's nuance to this. What I've always agreed with, and there are a lot of other people that agree with me, right? People were not against the idea of Doge. What I'm saying is that there needs to be government accountability, and I think that's lacking.
So when the government cuts, right? What have we seen that is affected jobs? It affects hospitals because
Clinton did
that you're talking right now.
But Clinton did cuts as well.
I think education.
Right, but you are going to have cuts at some point.
What happened
with
retirement back in 2008, 2007? I don't know it was either 2007. What happened to people's retirement? Because now people are depending on a 401k and a lot of pension. Pension ain't even a word in a lot of these industries.
Yeah, but those came from corporations, not government. That's what I'm saying. For the belief.
This is a conservative.
That was conservative ideology, right?
No, but what I'm saying is that the idea that increased spending can occur without some sort of accountability for government spending is an issue. So for example, the idea of Doge, I did not like that it was obviously Elon Musk or whatever, but I'm never going to be against accountability for spending. We should always want that as a citizen.
Right.
Because just like when we talk about Kristi Noem with that jet or wasn't there just something that came out that Patel was using Secret Service to protect his girlfriend or something like that? Something crazy. That's also government spending. When Donald Trump was...
Remember when he used to fight with...
May I finish? Because that's all government spending. If you're choosing to focus on the government spending that assists with people, that's fine. But I look at government spending in totality. So yes, we would have to break all those things down. I had an issue when Donald Trump was diverting the U.S. military and Secret Service to go and stay at his overseas resorts. And we talked about this in this room, that their per diems were so low that they couldn't even afford to get a salad because those damn resorts overseas are so freaking expensive. right? So I have a problem with that, and that is government spending. I had a problem with Donald Trump has the Secret Service go to Mar-a-Lago and he triple charges them for those tacky ass rooms because that's what he's doing. Yes, I have a problem with that. That is also government spending to me. So I guess I need to make a distinction between policy spending versus whatever.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had never joined the military or even had to work on appropriations with the little change that we get, let me tell you what I've learned. You know, our debt is actually, it's literally the private sector savings account. Our debt. That's their savings account.
Somewhat.
They depend on U.S. government debt. So if you was to kill the debt, you pretty much wiping out people's fucking retirement. I might be exaggerating, but you're fucking with people's retirement because your 401k is now your pension fund for a lot of yous.
Can I ask Neil a question real quick? Hold up, concrete, because I want to address what you said. Because you said that we gotta find a way to feed. Wait, why are you laughing at my statement, bro? Because Wall Street is at Golden Corral all day, every day. They got a free ticket. Not Golden Corral. They're at the Bellagio buffet.
Trent, maybe you need to.
Wait, what does that mean?
Just listen.
I understand. I think I understand what you said.
Trent, let's let Mel speak, and then you can go right after and talk about Golden Corral.
We're asking you a question. I'll go after Mel.
It's okay, Patty. I don't mind.
No. Trent, hold on, Patty. Stop making fun of me, Trent.
I'm not making fun of you, but when you said that you have to feed
yes, the government has to make Wall Street happy. That's what I said.
Wall Street is doing. Wall Street's the problem. If I was to be honest, it is the amount, just the pure amount of money that is going through Wall Street that does not benefit the people and are just unabashed greed.
Wait, hold on. Jazzy put in the chat, who disagrees with accountability? No, it wasn't her. Someone else said that, and then she said it's actually shocking. Who?
No one on the stage disagrees with accountability.
What's going on here?
It's like substantive points.
I'm getting to a substantive. I'm going to land because of the.
We don't want to talk about Golden Corral.
You're missing.
Very delicious.
Okay, let's go back to policy.
Let's get back to policy.
What Miki said was on point. Because the problem is the problem. Look, what you said was on point. The problem is the spending. You guys are arguing, but you're arguing like Maggie just said.
Think about what you said because you said she's on point, Trent.
No, listen. What Maggie just said. What she's talking about is pennies. I don't care what the Secret Service mills and that shit is pennies. The real problem is the defense spending. And the amount of debt that we are.
Hey, wait.
Oh my God.
That's a whole nother conversation. We're not because you just came into the conversation late. Maybe listen. Like I do that too sometimes. Like I just come in, I'll be like, hey, what are y'all talking about? And then I'll try to listen and figure out what's going on so I can comment. So let's go on mute for a minute, Trent. Go ahead.
Can I speak to that?
No, Mud. Because I said so. Go ahead, Mel.
Sorry, yeah. So defense spending like 15% of the budget. It's whatever. Back to reform's point. So like, I think that I don't want to show for the government as an online far leftist pro-blacker, but like, I think what people should take away from the Doge fiasco is that the government, there are a lot of checks and balances in government that allow for the utilization of capital. And the picture that Musk and his cronies painted of, unchecked spending and, massive fraud was patently false. And we all know so it's like it's a good thing to care about accountability. And to Fawn's point, I would say if you care so deeply about it, you should, advocate for the enhancements of these checks and balances in the government. You should advocate for having the CFPB be even more empowered, or having the budget office of budget something be more empowered. So the government isn't, taking your money and laughing it up and living it up large at the Ritz-Carlton. People should give it more credit.
Right. And you know what? One thing about the government budget, it's probably one of the hardest things to go on a trip to Dubai and just spend. There's lines of accounting. And that's why I kept bringing up, y'all just don't really see it. And that's because you're on the outside and y'all read what you're reading. And then you look at how the government runs based off of accounting measures where you work or in the private sector versus what's going on federally. But I promise you, Mel, you have became one of my favorite freaking characters behind.
Oh please, I'm not a character. I'm going to continue being a goo member.
No, you won't.
I will have a job, fortunately.
But you have become one of I love people that speak and it makes sense in my brain or can teach me something. But yeah.
No, I understand that, Molly. But there's also...
I love you too, Reform. That's why you became one of the people that I stuck to, because you were do this. Why do you have this? And you don't... when I was young on this app, you freaking came for me and said, you need to, and I looked it up. I'm they do it at Military One Source. Take advantage of it now. So, you're one of those people that actually helped me put things together. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Betty. Thank you for that. Nice things said about me.
So the last time,
Can I speak to accountability now?
Sure.
Okay.
No, because Maggie was about to speak.
no, you can go ahead. Go do your thing.
Go ahead.
All right. So what if we create a situation where we can verify that the government is not spending any money on any bullshit, but still it needs to overspend?
We're going backwards in the conversation.
Oh my fucking God. Okay.
We've already talked about that. We've talked about investments. We talked about highways, education, loans. Because one thing, fuck the highway. One thing you motherfuckers on this goddamn app, whether you're conservative or whatever, have complained about these goddamn student loans. We've talked about education. We've talked the things that may seem the most important just to the community of Clubhouse is education. They fucking food stamps. What else? What did I say? Student loans. Did I say student loans? Student loans, food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid. Yeah. And all that is the government spending money. And then any of these dummies come on here and talk about the gold standard, I promise you, you're getting kicked the fuck out the room and blocked for life.
No, it's coming.
So
I'm waiting for one motherfucking hotep to come up here and talk about some motherfucking gold standard.
Okay. So Jazzy, she talked about accountability. And what I was just trying to say is that there's a situation where we can have an accountable government, but it still has...
We have an accountable government, and they put it online. Transparency is a thing. You know what? Let me tell you something. Ask Walmart what transparency looks like. And y'all motherfuckers spend all the time. Anyone that makes under $59,000 lives in goddamn Walmart. Rural America uses Walmart like the mall. So ask Walmart why they're not transparent. Because the government is transparent. That's why they can have these fucking articles talking about.
It's not transparent. These people have no idea where that money's going.
Wait, please, no,
okay, I'm not making...
I have no idea where that money is.
You know what? That's why I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Remember when Kamala was running? Anybody that used to always come to the room, even when I was by myself looking crazy, or even going into PhD, or us as a female, we're gonna make sure these motherfuckers know women ain't just stupid, right? I will tell you that even with Biden, there was a breakdown of every dime being spent based off of fucking growth. every president puts down their priority. There's transparency in the government. You motherfuckers go ask Kroger what it looked like and how they fucking changed the prices using digital.
Trent,
Go ask
do you think?
I'm not trying to talk about that. I'm not saying that there's not transparency. What I'm saying is that
you said there's no transparency, bro.
No, sorry, Patty. That was Trent. That was not Congressman. That was Trent.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Trent.
So what I'm talking about is that we can verify to a penny that the government is not spending anything on anything frivolous. Like every program, every penny is really going to use for what the fuck is supposed to go to use for.
My nigga, what's up, my nigga?
What's up, my nigga? This app is fucking incredible, yo. So all I'm saying is like, okay, if we have that scenario where every program we are saying we need these programs, but still the government has to overspend or it has to do deficit spending. Are we saying that, okay, that's something that we're going to be in opposition to? Or are we going to just say like, okay, this is the things that we need to do?
I think we all agree on the stage that that's something that we would need to do.
Yeah, obviously. And this is a hypothetical, right? Not just asking yes or no. This is a hypothetical.
Like, just trying to say like, okay, in the perfect scenario,
Yes.
have a government that needs to overspend because we have like projects or whatever the case is going on, that we all agree as citizens have to fucking have it.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but it has to make sense.
Wait, hold on.
To include reform, she had to like concede and say, yeah, we got to spend.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, it still has to make sense at the end of the day for me. It does. We can't just rob Peter to pay Paul.
Let me tell you what's so crazy, right? I have files and I make them on their favorite on their computer. I have them save appropriations. I have them say like what transparency look like, and it's all on their favorites. So like maybe that's what it is. You're like, I think sometimes like when you're having the conversation, I appreciate it because then I can dig into my personal finances. It's not the same with the U.S. government.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Reformed and Trent, are you all not saying that the modern economies, the economic engines of the modern world, the United States, Britain, France, Germany, at one point Spain, Japan, Korea, China, are you saying weren't built by debt spending? I just want to make sure that's not, because you're saying it makes sense. Debt spending makes sense. All economic history of the 20th century, from the Industrial Revolution, the first one, then the second one shows that it was done by debt spending. Are you guys saying debt spending doesn't make sense?
No, I didn't say it didn't make sense in that regard, but I'm saying that a lot of times it's forged ahead without any real concern about the cleanup after, because we see how it impacts their economy. I think that China is a perfect example. Like one with China that I'll give is Evergrande, right? China subsidizes a lot of their corporations. And with that real estate, it was just a bad deal. So yeah, can the U.S. government make bad deals? I'll give you another one. But China is part and parcel, hand in hand with that. And the government literally absorbed all of that debt. When the news about Evergrande came out, and if you don't know,
you're gish galloping. Can I say that United States?
I'm out of the conversation. I can't deal with emotional millennial.
The United States after COVID, right? It's well known that we had the best recovery of all of the post-industrial economies. And people shit on Biden because he decided that he was going to spend all of that money in order to catalyze the economic industries of the United States to keep us afloat. That is the kind of investment that leads to growth, right? What happens when you decide to disinvest is divest. Is economy stagnate, right? And the economies crumble. That is not emotion. That's not emotion. It's knowing what you're talking about.
What does Evergrande? I thought Evergrande was a private company.
Now, you referenced China in terms of debt spending, so again, I got it out. Right, but China also, if you're talking about a country that also, China spends a lot of money on the Evergrande debt. That is what I was going to get to. But were we not talking about governments and debts?
No, I understand that, but what has that done to sort of inhibit or thwart their growth? I mean, the best economies in the world, China, Japan, the U.S., they're also the top 3 in debt.
But we also think that China's debt is also hampering them, right? Like they're not getting a lot of investments. Yes, there was last year there was a meeting with their Minister of Finance, or the equivalent, with a lot of CEOs and heads of Fortune 100 companies in the United States and abroad that were literally coming to them with some concern because China is known to cook the books because they have so much debt. We don't even know how much debt China is truly in, MAGA, because they engage so much in debt. It's just like a standard practice with them.
How was that inhibiting them getting people out of poverty, being technological leaders, leading the world in green energy? Like, what are the material effects?
Well, because at some point it's going to catch up with you. Like China.
When? I mean, when did the debt spending from the New Deal catch up with the U.S. in World War II? When did the debt spending from World War I catch up with the U.S.?
Okay, so if we really want to have that conversation, like when our debt is downgraded, right? Because one of the reasons during the recession whose background? That's really loud. I'm sorry. I'm old. I get confused. So for example, during COVID, right? One of the reasons that our debt was downgraded, because we can also have that conversation about how when we hear people say, "Oh, China, owns the United States," I'm always somebody to take up for that. Like, we want foreign investment in this country. We can't sustain ourselves just with U.S. dollars, right? We do want other countries to invest in the United States. I think it's kind of silly, for example, how Texas is saying how now you can't have certain foreign nationals that can purchase real estate or housing in the state, because I think that's kind of goofy. To expect the United States dollar to subsidize the entire U.S. economy is just ridiculous, in my opinion. 70%.
Has got to do with politics. It ain't got shit to do with
This is how I have nuanced conversations. I have to go over this. This is how I get the information out. So what I'm saying in terms of China, they're investing less in the United States, right? So Japan, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, neoliberal can fact check me. Japan, I believe, is the number one holder of U.S. debt because they get those dollars back, right? So what I'm saying in terms of China is number 2.
Congress, it has nothing to do with our with.
But that's not the point that I'm making.
Too much money.
He brought up China. Yes, it does, Patty. Oh, thank you for getting me back. Our debt was literally graded, and part of the reason why, according to Moody's, is because deficit, because we owe so much money.
I'm sorry, but
that's not.
That is the reason that they gave. Argue with them.
That wasn't my question. My question was. Hold on a second. My question was, when did debt spending catch up to the people? Keep saying it eventually catch up. This is what conservatives said at the formation of the New Deal in the early 1930s. Then we got into World War II. They said we don't need to get in because of the same thing. When will it catch up? That's all I'm asking.
But you don't think it's already caught up?
One second. Let me ask you a question. What is the tipping point in the ratio between debt and GDP where it catches up? What percentage? Japan, I believe, is at 200%. So what?
Oh no, it's
what percentage? When will it catch up?
Or a little bit over.
When will it catch up?
Okay.
I just want somebody to tell me, when will this debt catch up?
But
they can raise taxes, they can cut spending. There's all types of ways to do with debt. Moody's downgrading a thing hasn't done anything. I don't know.
Exactly.
When will it catch up?
Moody's downgrading U.S. debt is a pretty much big deal. Like, if you don't understand the significance of that.
Fell apart because of it.
Did we go in recession because of that? Did we not pay the bills? What happened?
What are all these one-liners about? Like, if it doesn't
answer my question, when will it catch up?
The question is that what percentage of our debt, or the interest on that debt, is we're paying that is part of the U.S. federal budget?
If you don't think it has an impact, what is the metric? How do we know when it's going to catch up?
What do you mean?
Economics on the
We're making payments on our debt, and that is a significant part of our spending. You don't think that's a concern?
What? How are we making payments?
Can you try to hear whether I'm not trying to be right or wrong, it's just my opinions. Do we not think that the payments that we have to make on our debt are impacting us? Yes or no?
Why does Japan still have an A grade? Why does Japan still has a double A grade when it comes to and they're over 200? What's going on?
Japan had a sideways economy for a while, Patty. They were sideways. They weren't really right. No, that was recently. They just recently had rate cuts, which were considered a pretty big deal. Like even Warren Buffett
from the debt,
right? But what?
It has nothing to do with that.
Hold on a second.
Yes, it does. If Moody's,
we're one of the safest assets when it comes.
If Moody's says that it's a problem, trust me, it's a problem.
What is the plan to grow the economy?
1 second, neoliberal. Can Trent tell me when it will catch up? That's all I'm asking. Nobody's answered the question.
I'll be honest with you. Nobody can tell you exactly when it's going to catch up.
Nobody will ever be able to
so for the last 100 years, watch this. Fiscal conservatives have been saying what Reform, Trent, Jazzy, and other people are saying, and it has not happened. Furthermore, this balanced budget fetishism of Clinton, people should go back and look at the material effects. It did not trickle down to working people and middle-class Americans. There was a spike in rise in income and it exacerbated inequality, both wealth and equality.
Because it did not increase middle class. I know that for a fact.
Respond intelligently.
No.
One second. When the person is speaking, why y'all just can't let him
Go ahead,
finish?
Trent. It doesn't matter.
Because he just came into the conversation late and he's talking about nothing.
People are trying to learn, Magda. We don't need him to jump in while you're in the middle of it.
But he doesn't need to jump in if he doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly.
So maybe he needs to stay on mute and pay attention to what's going on in the conversation. Whenever I come in late in the conversation, I ask y'all, what are y'all talking about? And I will sit on mute and listen. He needs to sit on mute and listen.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead, Trent.
We issue the debt in the currency that we control.
Yes,
we print the world's reserve currency. And people don't realize that.
Go ahead, Trent.
Let me also explain why what Miki is saying is important, and I completely agree with her.
Just say it. We don't need to preamble. Just say it, bro.
We pay on the servicing of the debt.
No shit. We know all this.
And we always have buyers.
I've lost my patience. You always want to cut in with something intelligent, and you're giving us third-grade economics.
Okay.
Give us the intelligent part. We all know the debt is serviced. We all know that. We all know you agree with Nikki. Give us the intelligent intervention.
The problem,
explain to us why Congress acts stupid, and they're the reason why.
Give us the intelligent intervention.
Problem is, as debt spending has increased, that the servicing of that debt has become astronomical. It is now well over $1 trillion. So
oh shit.
So it affects your discretionary.
No, but credit agencies have said our debt is not as a behavior. It's always been political.
What's been the effect?
It's always been governance.
1 second, you're letting him off the hook. What's the effect been?
What's the effect is eventually you're just paying off.
When is eventually?
Eventually.
What's the effect now? This is the reason why you have to cut back on some of the things that you want.
God. You said there was an effect, and then you said eventually, which means there's been no effect yet.
But it's happening. No, it's affecting the budget right now.
What?
So I want you to name one fucking economy.
Eddie, you let him off the hook. How's it affecting the budget?
I'm going.
How's it affecting the budget?
It's affecting the budget because before you even make $1, you got to pay $1.2 trillion servicing.
How would that affected the budget?
What do you mean? How is it affecting the budget? If you
how that affects the budget?
Okay, so if we're making $5 trillion a year,
what do you mean?
Where are you bringing in? What are you talking about?
Tax revenue is what what you're bringing in.
We're gonna let these men run the stage. Wait, MAGA.
Jesus Christ.
Females, stay on fucking mute. And do a little pattern.
Are you talking about tax revenue?
And let them have this conversation.
Are you talking about tax revenue? You talking about tax revenue?
Yes, your tax revenue, right?
Okay.
Our tax and tariff revenue has to pays for all the services that we want.
No,
Okay? Very
no,
simple. And
no.
so,
It's a no.
okay, fine.
Hold on, Neil Liberal. Let him get it all out. Go ahead, Neil Liberal. Go ahead, Trey.
I'm just trying to make it very simple. So, before we pay a penny, we've got to pay the debt. This is why we have to keep increasing the debt ceiling. And so we've got to pay down this $1.2 trillion in debt. And we want all these things. Like, we want to have a $900 billion defense budget. We want to have education and roads and especially Medicare and healthcare. And because we have to pay this debt is increasing, the interest on this debt is increasing every year because we continue to deficit spend. There is a point where there will be a day of reckoning. That is absolutely.
When?
Yeah.
I think
your claim was it affected the budget now.
It's affecting.
What effect did it have on the budget? What program got cut?
Didn't we just eliminate a whole bunch of programs and jobs? How can you
Not
just
because of the debt. They just gave a $3 trillion deficit spending on a one beautiful bill.
We haven't had a balanced budget in 30 years.
I recognize that, but listen, so we can calm down. Look, there will be a day, and unfortunately it won't happen until we hit a recession or possibly a depression, and then we'll have to start looking at this, and everybody will recognize what a mistake it was. The deficit's been.
We got out of recessions and depressions, debt spending. Are you familiar with the Great Depression?
Not at $40 trillion debt, MAGA. Not at $40 trillion in debt.
Huh?
Not at $40 trillion in debt. We have not been.
The economy was slow back in 1934. What was the percentage of GDP? Did you know?
No, I don't know what it was in 1954.
Go ahead, Neoliberal. You always want to interrupt to do intelligent.
Can I say something real quick? And I'm just going to say this one thing. I'm going to be honest with y'all. We have failed men, not black men only, white men, black men, Asian men, all you motherfuckers. Because right now I'm listening to people that keep coming up here and they are fucking men. You motherfuckers don't understand how debt, you don't understand fiscal versus financial. Like, this shit is fucking retarded. And this, I'm so fucking pissed because I'm listening to y'all and the fucking arguments that is going back and forth. Just listening to someone like maybe MAGA speaking, neoliberal, fucking male. And male ain't even in this goddamn country. And he's trying to give you fucking small examples of what it would look like for the United States. And you fucking men cannot fucking listen and take it in and say, maybe it makes sense. And that's why I said with the women, even with Miki trying to use her arguments based off of her education on what it looks like for a household, or even like people that she has to talk to and how they invest their funds, she had to concede. You fucking men are fucking dumb as fuck. The patriarchy has fucking failed you.
Patty, I didn't come off.
Oh no, sis, I didn't concede in that regard. And for the record, I just let y'all go back and forth with
something recorded because there were certain things that you said that you fucking backtracked on.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that. So I'm literally putting stuff in the chat about Moody's, and I'm just waiting for neoliberal to chime in.
Go ahead and put something about FIS too and everybody else, and then go and look at what the economy, what the really smart guys said.
You guys, now we're talking about age of economic prosperity.
We're talking about the economy when the average American does not really participate in the economy, and when Biden's economy was doing well, people were still talking about inflation. So now it's interesting how we're like, oh, the economy is doing well, but most people don't feel that. So the point that I'm trying to make about when your debt is downgraded, it means that you have to give people a little bit more incentive to invest, which is bad, because that means that we're going to have to give a little bit more interest. So for anybody who is not concerned about that, I get it. but we should be concerned, right? Moody's downgraded the U.S. debt rating, and this is not my words, this is theirs. Moody's downgraded the U.S. debt rating in May of 2025 due to persistently large fiscal deficits, rising national debt, and increasing interest costs, highlighting concerns about the U.S.'s long-term fiscal health and ability to control spending, a move that followed similar downgrades by the S&P in 2011 and Fitch in 2023, signaling a deteriorating fiscal trajectory. Key factors included unsustainable debt to GDP projections, high interest burdens consuming more revenue. Hello, I put in the chat.
So I got
our interest payments are 30%.
What does that have to do with congressional?
May I finish? Please.
When it comes to the debt ceiling, because that's not the debt amount.
Ma'am, may I finish?
It makes it.
I'm trying to make it make sense. Interest payments on the U.S. national debt are a significant and growing part of the federal budget, reaching around 13% of total
spending. The S&P has actually said something like,
all right, y'all got it.
Political process. S&P has said it. They said it's about the political process.
Standard and Poor's?
When we
may I finish reading this comment?
They talked about our government. An approach of our fucking government.
Yes.
Maybe you need to Google and read more. Just because they got numbers on there, they actually talk about our government.
Yeah, they do.
With our government. Our debt ceiling. You know, we are, when we print money, we are the world's economy. I don't give a fuck what y'all got to say on here. Patty. But every one of these fucking people that you want to fucking reference always talk about political governance.
Moody's
everything when it came to our downgrade, it's been political governance. What has happened in Japan? That's why I said Japan, why do they still have a AA? Because their motherfucking politicians don't talk the way ours does.
But Patty, sis, when Moody's is not an individual, it's a well-respected organization.
So they're very specific. Because a lot of y'all love to come up here and talk about it.
But Standard and Poor's versus the S&P 500 are two different things, though. Are you talking about the S&P 500 or Standard and Poor's?
She's talking about Standard and Poor's.
But Moody's, in their assessment, they do mention fiscal policy and our government.
Every one of them talk
I didn't say that they didn't. I just thought we were talking about the debt.
Every one of them.
I focused on that.
But debt is inextricably linked.
May I finish reading about the interest payments?
Debt is inextricably linked.
Interest payments on the U.S. national debt are a significant and growing part of the federal budget, reaching around 13% of total spending in fiscal year 2024, with projections showing it could exceed 15% soon, making it a larger expense than defense or Medicare in some regards. This is a problem because it's taking away from the day-to-day. If our debt spending that we have to take care of on an annual basis, right, is going to exceed defense spending and Medicare spending, that is a problem, and that is how it is a huge concern.
So the question is, what would facilitate the kind of economic growth that would help us expand industry, decrease inequality, but also pay down debt? If we look at what is generally looked at as the golden age of economic expansion in the United States, where we get all of these new industries, inequality, the gap between Black and white decreases, American standard of living increases, that is facilitated by government investment in the mid-20th century. We do not get that golden era everybody loves to point to with the woman, in the house and whatever, without the government investing. And that carries us through until, the conservatives come in and say that they don't like the N-word. So we need to institute austerity.
Yeah, I fully agree with Kimberly. Hello, everyone. MAGA, United States has not paid fully or approximately fully interest-bearing debt since 1835.
Thank you very much.
I was trying to answer that. So,
thank you. Since when was that?
1835.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Trent, one second, real quick. Trent, right here, has the country fallen apart? Since 1835, it's been almost 200 years.
Well, there was.
You've had multiple collapses.
1929, 1987, and 2008. We've had multiple.
And that's from not servicing the debt.
Not from debt. Not from debt. Okay, not from debt. The debt crisis didn't start. I'm with you, MAGA. But what Miki just read is exactly what people. This is something that you, if you want more services, should be talking about. More
what? Wait, what? What did she read? I was watching football. What? I missed. Just give me the gist.
No, I read the percentage of debt that is included in our annual budget
report, and
it's about 13%.
Report ain't shit.
I read two different things, sir, respectfully. I read what percentage of the federal debt that, you know what?
Deficit spending is not what is hampering the economy. It is fiscal policy.
100%. And that's
Can you guys explain fiscal policy a little bit more?
Politics and governance.
So Kimberly, we agree with you on that. It is fiscal policy, but
wait, you agree with Kimberly?
Yeah, you don't articulate for me exactly what I just said.
Can you articulate it better, Kimberly?
Yeah, so I can articulate. Look, it depends. What she's talking about is we need to have more investment to grow the economy, right? And there is that part of it. My part of the fiscal policy goes to spending less on defense so that we can pay down this debt, so that we have more, so we can pay down the debt and we can have more of the things that you guys want for education and investment into American kids.
What happens to the industries that are being held up by that huge DoD budget? Where do the Boeing people go? Where do the defense contractors go? What happens to that part of the economy?
Because they're going to lose jobs.
I don't know. I put them in AI. Put them in something that's not.
Because you guys don't shift them. What are we
trying to learn? Hold on.
So how much? Hold on. Let me answer the question. I'm with you, my brother, because one great place to put those folks would be energy, a sector that you're part of. So yes, instead of healthcare, instead of an economy that is focusing on killing other people in other countries and controlling resources, why don't we build our own and innovate and get some high-speed rail and a better infrastructure system inside the United States, making it better for Americans that live here? I would agree with that.
So you just can see that. I can agree with that.
You just want to move the money around. You don't want to actually reduce the spending. You just want to move it around.
Reduce the spending, yes, but you can't.
This cannot be this hard.
No, I want to reduce the spending, but you can't reduce the spending if you continue to spend $900 billion on defense.
So it's only 15%.
About how we should do that. What would happen to those industries? You said just move them to other industries.
Why did you say only 15%? What is 15% of dollars amount?
It is 15% of the budget, but it's
what is that in dollars? Not for you, for men.
I don't know, $800 billion.
Hold on.
And that's little money to you.
Hold on. I have a question.
15%.
It's only 15% of the budget.
Yeah, 15%.
We're trying to.
Hold on.
How much was going to be? Hold on, real quick. How much money was going to be for the big beautiful, not for the big beautiful bill, but for the Build Back Better towards energy?
Towards energy? We're talking about defense spending.
I know, but Trent's trying to say if you move that money, you take $800 billion and put it towards.
So you want a weaker military, Omar?
No,
I think our military strong already.
But you're gonna weaken them.
You have to spend money to maintain the military.
What's the point you want to make on discretionary?
I just want to ask one question, Trent. So you're gonna weaken the defense, right? And then you're gonna have to retrain all these people because remember, you want them to shift into different industries, which you said AI and medical. So then you're gonna have to spend more to reach. Okay, where are you gonna get this money from, Trent? I just want to know because no, sir. Listen to the question. Where are you going to get the money to retrain all of these people? Because now you have to retrain them for a different industry. So that's my question. Just hold tight and answer that one question. Don't pivot. Thank you.
I'm not pivoting. If you hang on, I will definitely answer your question.
It is 15% of the budget, but it is 56% of discretionary spending.
So what?
And the discretionary spending, as you all know, that's where the money is that you want to control to go to other things.
That's what I'm saying. What does it matter if it's discretionary or non-discretionary? Those are just accounting terms. That doesn't tell me anything vis-a-vis monies.
The discretionary spending is how much we spend on education.
Just answer the
Right, they
question.
can pass a law to make it defense funding non-discretionary. Those are just categories.
We're not talking about categories. The question I asked you is simple. What is going to now happen if you are now weakening the military because now you are taking money from the.
So first of all, the idea that weakening military by spending less is.
Listen to the question, Trent. You have to now
retrain the people
into new fields. Where are you going to get the money to retrain these people? That is a simple question. Simple question. Just answer that part. Don't get into discretionary and non-discretionary.
Well, ma'am, if you answer that question, you got to be quiet so I can answer it. I would take $400 billion from the military. I would use 100 billion of that to retool and retrain and innovate, but it would come off the books. We would still be spending $500 billion a year, which is still double than any other nation in the world. Maybe China's kind of catching up to us, because I think they're at 300 billion. But we could still spend more money than anybody else in the world. We have not been invaded in this country since 1941. And we'd still have the strongest military in the world, and we could retool and retrain, and you wouldn't have lead in your fucking water.
Okay, so
what?
You believe that the reason why there's lead in the water is because of defense spending?
That's crazy.
He didn't say that. Come on, he didn't stop saying that.
He just said if you change defense spending, you wouldn't have lead in your water. That's what he told you.
I'm done. Okay. I just want you to know I'm done.
The reason why your communities are crumbling is because you insist on spending too much money on defense. The same thing happens.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true at all. The reason why community, it's not. See, what's fascinating about you, what I love about this, is you don't talk about the tax cuts. They could have made half the tax cut. They could raise corporate taxes from 15 to 20, do far more than what you're talking about.
That's
it is not from defense. Medicare. How much is Medicare? 1-point-something trillion? How much is Social Security? 1 trillion? Why don't they raise the caps on those? So if you make over 180,000, I think it's 186,000. Say I make $200,000. I put the same amount of money as Social Security, Medicare, FICA, payroll taxes as LeBron James. So you're worried about you just said I want you to hear what you said. You think you can service the debt with $300 billion a year. So you're taking from the economy, which by the way, the defense program, whether you believe it or not, is a stimulus on the economy. You're taking away from that, and then what happens? You're going to get less revenue into the government. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to end up catching you. So what you think you're saving from taking away from the defense spending into the debt, you're going to actually end up paying more.
Can I also offer, it's ironic that you talked about lead pipes when the One Big Beautiful Bill, which is the fiscal policy that I'm talking about, that's an example, actually including provisions that cut government investments to states that would help them address the lead pipe problem.
Thank you, Kim.
So when I say that these are public policy choices, that is what we are saying.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's not about deficits.
$500 million is essentially what Biden was spending when he got in office.
No, that's not.
Wait, on what? On what?
On defense. I think it was $562 million.
No, it wasn't. It was $1 trillion.
No. You're adding in better. You're
incorrect.
No, you're adding in the better.
You are incorrect. Okay, I am not adding shit. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
I have it here. It's very easy. I have it here, Trent. Calm down, bro. 768 billion for 22, $816 billion for 23.
Go back to
850 for 24 and 25. Where you get 500 from?
You gotta go back to 2020. I mean, go back to 2020.
I wasn't pregnant in 2020.
Oh, Lord have mercy. When we came into the office, when we came
That was the fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
That's too
I
much
said when we came into
That's
office.
too
I
much
think it was around. I think it was around $600 million.
You are wrong.
Listen.
The fund.
Here's what.
Yeah,
Calm down. Reg, calm down. All.
Shut up. Somebody else speak besides me or Trent. I'm tired of speaking. I'm tired of hearing him. Somebody else go.
Okay.
No, let neoliberal go.
So you just have an issue with me. I see.
On the Moody point, let's go back to general debt, not specifically defense. Moody has a certain view of the economy, right? Let's remember that they issued all of those criticisms when Biden was doing the stimulus, right? There was, if you remember, all of these conversations and debate between Summers and other camps that wanted more stimulus to the government and were arguing that inflation is transitory. And there was Summers that was arguing for Volcker-type shock that would create enormous levels of unemployment because he thought that inflation is a bigger issue than it turned out to be, right? So Moody and other rating agencies who sell ratings to, well, at least on bonds, right? They have a certain view. That doesn't mean we have to take their word for gospel. Of course, they're going to downgrade a rating for somebody that responds in a crisis with a huge stimulus package, right? And their view was in agreement with Summers that they thought would deteriorate the fiscal base and actually increase inflation. They were wrong, right? Like, that's the point. Like, rating can also be wrong, and they also can represent a certain of the economy that usually has certain views on the bond market, for example, right? So we can't just cite Moody without all of that context. The rating agencies were wrong. Summers was wrong. United States, because of the Biden stimulus package, had the best recovery, as Kimberly said earlier, right? So there you have it. It's a little bit lax. So, of course, there can be bad spending. Of course, if all of that stimulus money actually didn't, it actually went into productive assets, right? Or to the rich people, etc., or only to the rich people, it would be bad. Like, we can discuss that on the merits of spending and whether the spending is productive or not. But just saying that especially in a downturn, as Mud was saying, right, that the government should not support the economy, that's austerity policies. The United States did that once in Trent's mentioned Great Depression, right? This is when the government decided to not respond with stimulus to the economy, and you had a depression. That's a bad policy. But we can discuss whether the debt levels is too much and should be reduced to some other amount. We can discuss how the money is spent, whether it's spent primarily during with Trump's tax cuts, whether it's going to the rich people or it's actually going to productive uses, right? All of that is valid issues. But the idea that the United States is going to collapse, but just because there is debt, right, is a little bit misguided. You can say that the United States is going to collapse because it's rewarding rich people for doing right, and assets are going into unproductive side of the economy that are paying rents. There is valid criticism of debt there that usually is more associated with Republican administration, right? But just the statement that the clock is ticking, this debt is going to collapse on itself, I don't know how you can make that argument.
So what is happening to the U.S. dollar if you're saying that it's not a concern. And neoliberal, I was actually referencing the downgrade this year, not during COVID. Moody's was actually the last of the three, but yeah, so I didn't even realize that because it's not widely reported. But it was just downgraded this year in May, I believe. And I was trying to give the reasons that they stated. But are you concerned about what's happening to the US dollar?
Well, the US dollar being down 10-15% this year is mostly to do with confidence, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter why. That's what I'm saying. You can't substantiate the why in one conversation and not the why in the other. We have to look at what's actually happening. So that's why I said
politics. Like when you talk about what's going on with,
I asked neoliberal a specific conversation. Right, but I asked neoliberal what were his thoughts about what's happening with the US dollar. Nope.
I think there are like always multiple concerns, right? And whenever they issue a statement, the fiscal concerns are going to be there, right? And the fiscal concerns have further deteriorated, I agree, right? But there is a ranking of concerns, right? And I think the primary, in the ranking of primary concerns, it would be Fed independence, that would be the one, right? Like Fed independence is under threat and assault. Like previously, it would be a Doge messing with the payment system of the United States in the Treasury on the farther outlook, right, of that. Although that crisis passed, now it's Fed independence. The fiscal concerns are going to be there. It's valid to criticize that the debt to GDP ratio is, let's say, too high. And a certain sector of the economy that Moody represents will always going to do that, right? If a leftist president comes in and they fix Social Security with more debt, somehow, right? Or do universal health care, Moody and everybody else in that sector of economy are going to say this is bad. They're going to downgrade the credit rating. That does not mean that we have to take their word for gospel.
No, she said with a downgraded credit rating, what about the dollar? Increased debt, downgrading, what about the dollar? That's what she said.
So let me read something real quick that came from Moody's, right? The agency cited, this is what they're saying, successive U.S. administrations, Congress failing to agree on measures to reverse the trend of large annual fiscal deficits and growing interest. Like,
look, so the question is a little misleading. When she says, what about the dollar? What does she mean, what about the dollar? That's the first thing you need to figure out.
Yeah.
How would you connect that to the deficit, though?
Like when somebody says the strength of the dollar, I understand it as the both market, not the relative valuation of currency. Relative valuation of currency is like there are winners and losers in that. It's good for some people, it's bad for some people. A strong dollar is not necessarily good for the United States. Do we mean as relative valuation of currency? Do we mean people holding it in reserve assets?
Yeah, reserve. What do you mean? What's happening with the dollar? There you go. That's how you do it.
It's weakening.
Weakening is a
deficit.
And it's weakening because of the failure of Congress.
It doesn't matter.
Said a weak dollar is not necessarily a bad thing. And a weak dollar is not necessarily a bad thing. That's another thing.
Clarify on that, not necessarily neoliberal.
Right.
Come
Come on now.
on now. What do you mean, come on now?
Well, it's good for experts.
Why would you bring up the dollar if your argument's about the debt deficit? And then you're saying that then
I don't have an
she's
argument.
trying to say that there's a correlation
It's a
between the deficit and the dollar.
have an argument.
It's a conversation. I don't
She's saying
have
there's a correlation
I don't have
between
an
the value of the dollar and the debt.
She said that
Moody's is a conservative organization, and guess what? You want these organizations to be good. You don't want them to be like the people on TikTok saying, give give us $5.
How do you know Moody's is a conservative? Wait a second. How do you know Moody's is a conservative? I don't
mean politically conservative, MAGA. I mean that we don't want them to be super optimistic when they're doing these evaluations of assets. That's what I mean.
Oh, so right? They do independent analysis.
Yes.
Okay, so
Moody's. There's Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. I think Fitch is
so they do math. Right.
So let me go ahead and tell you what Moody has said when it came to their ratings and why they downgraded back in May of 2025. Successive U.S. administrations, Congress failing to agree on measures to reverse the trend of large annual fiscal deficits. This is all going back to our politics, bro.
And that's the country's rating. Conflated that with.
What's the impact on the downgrade? Like, has it raised the cost of financing? Like,
really global.
When your ratings are lower, you have to pay higher interest. Do we not understand how that can be harmful? Like,
I understand that, but I'm just.
Do we understand?
If you're going from AAA plus to AA, like, what's been the impact on U.S. Treasury financing so far? I'm just asking.
Okay, so. There is, and this is actually a recent trend, like not just a recent trend, it's been happening for a minute. We still have a substantial share of marketplace and being the world's reserve currency, but there's been some disruption to that. There have been a lot of arguments about BRICS. There's been a lot of arguments about the United States.
What does that have to do with the debt?
I'm talking about debt.
I hate how y'all ask a question and then it's like people are supposed to give a Sesame Street response in 5 seconds. Don't ask me no more. Nobody ever said that. There's such a thing as a decline. If you're a hoe and you're the bottom bitch and you used to being booked every night, you bringing in $10,000. Well, I gotta say something apparently you niggas can understand.
Oh, really?
And if you don't get as much and you bringing in $7,000, there's still a fucking decline.
Do hoes have a central bank?
God damn, a central bank is your coochie. Son of a bitch. A decline is still a fucking decline. I don't care if it's 1% or 0.5%. A decline is still a goddamn decline. God.
So I want to say something about debt deficit investments in America. The last major infrastructure bill that was passed, Trent, was over $1 trillion. Do you know who signed the law, Trent?
Biden's on it?
Biden. Do you know what the defense budget was that year, Trent?
Probably 700 billion.
890 billion, between 850 and 890 when it went into effect. So what people like Trent do, who are actually conservatives, is they say things like, well, if you cut the defense, we can do X, Y, and Z. And the reason why they say that is because they know we're not going to cut the defense, so they don't have to hold political figures accountable for not investing in America. It is a narrative. And it's not laughing. You said that with last you said, hold on, Trent, because this is what you said. Trent, what you said.
Okay,
This is what you said. Hold on, Trent. Hold on, Trent. This is what you said. This is what you said. You said that with the debt, et cetera, you people wouldn't have lead in your pipes. That's what you said. Do you know the Biden administration mandated and put in lead pipe remediation? That was going into effect. And the next administration came in and changed it. It had nothing to do with the debt. You talk about infrastructure, airports are the biggest infrastructure bill in decades. It was dovetailed biggest defense spending in decades. There is no relationship between investment in America and the defense spending. But what people like you do, who are crypto and quasi-crypto Republican magats, is you make up narratives to justify why conservatives do not invest in America. Democrats like Biden had big militaries. FDR, if you look at percentage of GDP in World War II, for example, even before, it got between 50% to over 100%. And he also invested in social services and infrastructure. There is no relationship between defense spending and infrastructure, that's environmental and social service investment. Trent, your response.
Okay. Well, first of all, you're looking for an enemy where there isn't one.
Just respond. I don't need the preamble.
Okay, my man, calm down.
It's annoying with the preamble because you don't know what you're saying, so you're stalling time to get your response. Just say you need a few seconds to think about it. It's okay to sit a while and think. Shout out to Asa Guy raising the sun. Never be afraid to sit a while and think.
No, listen. So I agree with you on I liked the Biden infrastructure points, but yeah, I would disagree, right? That your defense spending doesn't affect your investment. I mean, it does. Our transportation is falling behind. Our electricity.
You just said you agreed on Biden.
I did agree with Biden.
So why the big beautiful bill? Didn't they just raise, I don't know, 3%? Right? They could have raised a 3% surtax on companies worth $500 million and rebuilt airports. They didn't have to touch defense spending at all.
Okay, well, here's what I do disagree with. I also, at the same time, disagree with taxing corporations and people above.
There you go. So you can fund, exactly, you just proved my point. You don't even realize it. You just proved my point. You're a conservative.
My man, we can disagree on how to get there.
No. You said the only way to get there was through military cuts.
My estimation, and this is not popular amongst Republicans, my estimation is instead of arguing about taxes for the wealthy, stop spending so much money with.
I know you're conservative.
Definitionally conservative, though.
Definitionally so. You want rich people to have more money. You want more people to pay more, and you want more what? Trent, you literally just said Trent. You just said cut spending. Do you hear you just said cut spending?
Yes.
Cut spending and fix airports. You got to spend on it.
No, I want to cutting on defense. There's no point in having.
They're not going to spending on defense. That's a red herring, Trent.
I just am I allowed to speak? Is that okay?
You are. I apologize.
Thank you, my man. I love you, my brother. So listen, what I am saying is I don't want to see an aircraft carrier and a full fleet sitting outside of Venezuela, who's got like 40 helicopters.
What does that have to do with the conversation?
That doesn't have to do with defense spending.
That has nothing to do with spending.
That is defense spending.
It is not.
That's policy, Trent. That's policy.
What created? Look, we've got 40 submarines. We've got 3 aircraft carriers. We have military bases around.
Come on, Trent.
No.
You're not responding. What I'm saying is, let me do it. I'm yelling. Trent, let me say my point real quick. I want you to think about it. It just takes 5 seconds to think about it. They're not going to cut defense spending. So rather than focus on what's never going to happen, why don't we say, and it happened if they don't cut it? And we have a recent example of $1 trillion investment in America when the defense budget was the highest it had ever been. So my point to you is when conservatives like you, by the way, you just proved you were conservative. You literally just said cut spending and give rich people more money. 1 second, bro. 1 second. Let's just listen. Just listen and think for 5 seconds when I'm done. What happens if you move off defense spending? Can you imagine the United States investing in the United States without cutting defense? 1 1,000. 2 1,000. seconds. Think. 1 1,000. 2 1,000. 3 1,000. 4 1,000. 5 1,000. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
You know what's crazy? I think a lot of people.
Spending. You just proved my point.
So a couple days ago, I brought up like global trade and why we're deployed. Global trade depends on our defense spending. It depends on our military power. Like, did you know that a lot of naval ships are out there because they're the ones that's securing a lot of the fucking shipping lanes? Where the government, our defense is actually what allows global oil to flow. Like, I'm so fucked up that y'all just think that somebody that wears a uniform just goes out to fight wars. Like, we're the ones that fucking protect these fucking trade routes. Like, our global defense is what stabilizes the fucking entire globe's fucking market.
That's why the defense cut, Patty.
I'm so fucking sick of you fucking motherfuckers.
Patty, you shouldn't get upset. This is what I'm trying to tell you, and I'll say it without yelling. For people who are wisely yelling, the Redskins are utterly terrible. They've ruined the team. The coaches are terrible. The GM. I'll be crashing all week. I apologize. It has nothing to do with politics or trend or individuals. It's all because of the fucking Washington Commandos. They are at, and Jaden Daniels got hurt again today. He got hurt again.
Well, he weighs about 22 pounds. What the fuck do you think?
He shouldn't be in the game. They're 3-8.
Yeah,
Why is he in the game?
He shouldn't be.
3-8. He shouldn't have got hurt last time. They were down 30 points. He got injured down 30 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that team lost. I lost money.
It's probably his mom.
I'll drop this because my Raiders are getting ready to
And he's sitting on the Christmas tree. I got a whole so pissed. I spent $250, $100 on this fucking Christmas tree. It is beautiful.
That's not being fiscally conservative, though.
Anyway,
Just
it's what it is. It is because I donate to the people.
Hurry up, Trent. I got a question.
Good people to say it without being interrupted. Like, look, to respond to Patty's exactly right. We do. We spend $110 billion a year guarding oil. And none of you benefit from it.
No. What happens when we cut? Let's pretend. Let's pretend we cut everything 50% when it comes to DOD or anything that it has to do with defense. What the fuck do you think would happen with
Patty,
because we cut in certain areas, and what did China do? So what happens with Russia and Ukraine? Like, how does Ukraine giving up certain parts of their territory, how does that affect the global economy? Or even when you guys bring up these naval ships that's in certain trade some of our fucking shipping routes, how does that affect you females getting your Fashion Nova $10 fucking dress?
So, Patty, if I can look, MAGA's allowed to run on for 10 minutes without being interrupted, but I didn't get to finish my point. What I'm saying, and I agreed with the Biden administration on this, is moving the economy from an oil-based economy to a more electric-based economy.
Wait. You're saying that?
Yes, Mel. Yeah.
Mel, let him finish, bro.
My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know. They labeled me as like some conservative, like.
Trent, you were extolling the rollback of cafe standards just 3 days ago.
That's why I was asking.
Just 3 days ago, you said the opposite.
Well, at the point that we're at. But hold on, I gotta be able to finish the points.
But you just said you extolled the Biden administration, and then Trump rolled back the centerpiece of the thing you just extolled, and you were extolling it 3 days ago.
You can't interrupt at every point because then I can't ever finish.
Bro, you're right. Go ahead. Explain your contradiction in 3 days.
Look, I agree with trying to move this country to a more electrified basis so that we're not spending $110 billion a year, which could be going to your communities. And what I'm talking about, because it's not just defense, but defense.
Hold on, Trent, I apologize. Real talk. Stop saying your communities because you're talking to black people. My community's nicer. Just real talk. My community's nicer than yours.
Just say all communities.
Yours. Stop. Just say black communities or poor poverty. Stop saying your communities. We black people on here, our houses are nicer than yours. They're worth more. Our communities are nicer than yours. Stop saying our communities, bro. You're not some special black dude just because you married some Mexican lady and think you got better lives than the rest of us because we married black dudes. Yeah, my house is worth more than yours. My community is nicer than yours. So stop saying your communities. If you're black, you're black. So it's either our communities or make it third person. Don't make it second person. Respectfully, I'm tired of you saying your communities. Guess what? You live in the shithole. You're in the border where you have 30% poverty rates. You're in the place where homes cost $200,000. So talk about your shithole community with your non-black self.
Okay, so let's just say this: our communities, because when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about it in the context of all American cities. Because I haven't been to an American city that is all the way nice throughout in my life, and I've been to a lot of them. And so what's happening in
Oh my God, Trent, come on.
I can't do this with you today.
He's so dumb.
It's an
What
alien.
city in the world is nice all the way through? He's so dumb. I can't stop. Your communities. He was talking about 4 black niggers. Because he's around a bunch of white people and Hispanics, he doesn't think he's a nigger.
Jesus Christ. No, I'm talking about a lot of our communities around America. There's a lot of problems, and infrastructure and power affects all of us. And so we can take a lot of this money that we're extolling on building. Who knows what we're building for $900 billion?
What did Biden do? Since you want to talk about infrastructure,
We're spending three times the next closest nation.
it's called investment.
Take all of our allies combined. We spend basically all of our allies combined. It makes no sense the amount of money that we spend on defense. And Patty, I know that you're in the military. Rez, I know that you're in the military. I'm not saying take away veterans' benefits. But what I am saying is it is stupid. It is stupid to continue to support administrations that were Republican that will not move some of that money back in of America.
But Trent, I'm sorry, but Michael has been making the point, it's like for the last 10, 15 minutes, that America will always spend money on defense, but you have a choice between two different parties.
Because you keep
One party,
people that do it.
one party.
Them do it, dummy.
You're dumb for supporting it.
Trent,
I don't support it. I'm being realistic. I believe in hold on a second, Mel. I believe in the defense cuts. I'm telling you that it is not a useful point of departure for an analysis because no one's going to do it. That's what I'm saying. I believe in cutting defense. But in terms of whether or not they need to cut defense to invest in cities, they don't. And you're using it as a smokescreen as opposed to just saying, hey, they can tax corporations. They can tax rich people. They can cut spending. Because you don't believe in those things, because you're a whitewashed conservative. Because you're a whitewashed conservative, you're going to give us a solution they'll never do.
No, MAGA, because taxing corporations just forces corporations to move jobs off.
It does not.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
One second. What's the effective tax rates on corporations during Clinton's era? Do you know?
I don't know.
Was it higher or lower than now? The tax rate.
During what?
It's lower.
Clinton's era.
I don't know what it was. Is
it higher than lower than now? I asked. You know,
it was 34%, right?
Okay. It was in the 30s. It was in the 30s. Why didn't people leave?
They did. We also went crazy. That's what NAFTA was created. They also went crazy. What are you talking about?
You said NAFTA is not the corporate tax rate.
You moved. Listen, do you know how many things moved during NAFTA? I mean, the second move during NAFTA.
Trent.
Now you sound stupid.
Trent.
No. You didn't go once.
They moved from NAFTA, to your point. Did they have higher profits? Did they have higher profits, Trent?
Yeah. And
their tax bill was higher because corporate taxes on profits, not revenue.
Okay, so then Gingrich in 96.
Hold on, Trent. What was the effective tax rate in the 50s? Lower.
Okay, 50s, it's a completely different thing. It doesn't matter.
Like just asking whether it's higher or lower.
Fuck if I know. Probably higher.
Exactly. So you made the claim that if you raise so what is the corporate tax rate now, Trent?
What's the corporate tax rate
now?
15%?
Right. You're telling me if they were to do a 2% surtax on corporations with revenue over $500 billion, they would move from the U.S.?
No.
Thank you. No, I have a question can I ask a question for reform now? So reform, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about the corporate tax. Why do people say Reaganomics was good? Because he took the tax rates between 40-something% to about 35, 36%. And he created jobs. Like, how does that work? Why do conservatives believe by cutting taxes, it actually helps the economy? Like, what is can you explain that?
I mean, it's
like why people say that all the time. Like why conservatives say that.
I just honestly think it's like being misinformed. A lot of people think if you give the wealthy tax cuts that it's going to stimulate the economy, right? Or like trickle down economics. I don't think that it works. I think it's largely been debunked, if I'm not mistaken, by the powers that be. What I do think that we tend to see is that when people that make significant amounts of income, like the 2008 Great Recession, people that made over six figures lost their jobs, right? There's less dollars available for spending, as opposed to during COVID, we only had like a mild recession, a textbook recession, which is defined as 2 declining quarters of GDP, because a lot of people that had low wage jobs that were, that lost their income, right? So it didn't move the needle as much. But no, I don't really think that corporate tax cuts translates to trickling down to their employees. Remember during Trump's first administration, he absolutely said that was a reason for giving corporate tax cuts, if anybody remembers. He said that it was going to invigorate the economy because these corporations would be passing on these savings to their employees. And does anybody remember what the corporations did? Which is what they always do. They bought back their stock, right? And a lot of them are doing that now, by the way. Same thing. So corporations buying back their stock, one could argue, benefits the general populace, but only if the general populace is invested in those companies, which the general populace typically is not. So, no, I don't really think that it works, but I'd be curious to hear others' opinions. I think it's been formally debunked for a while now.
Matt Liberty, are you there?
You want to talk? Can you explain like that? Why?
One second, real quick. Matt Liberty, are you there?
No, he's not on stage.
Oh no, he is on stage. No, he can't speak. So Matt Liberty said, "This is how people who are ideologically dug in and don't read." He said that if my plan about a 2% surtax or whatever came in, companies would leave the U.S. Do people know that in the Inflation Reduction Act, the Biden administration with Democrats, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. Do people know that it mandated a 15% minimum corporate tax for corporations whose revenues, exceed over $1 billion over a 3-year period? Which corporations left? Just that 15%. Look at no, I'm talking about the tax portion of it. Don't worry about the green portion. This is the tax portion. It was actually a tax bill as well. Which corporations left for 15%, Matt? Which corporations left? Trent, which corporations left? You said corporations would leave too. Which one of those left?
No, I said what I said. I didn't say corporations would leave. I said
he's talking about Trent, not you.
Yeah, no, he did pay me. Shut up. Fucking. No, I'm just playing. I'm just mad about the Raiders getting ready to lose. No, look. What happens when you tax companies more? They have less money. When they have less money, they hire fewer people. So that's why I'm saying.
When does that happen? Wait a minute.
Always fucking happens.
Wait a minute. Wait, it always happens?
Huh?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Telling me.
Tax me more, I have less money to spend on people.
That's not true.
That's not how it works.
That's not true. Wait, Trent. Explain the corporate tax. Wait a second, Trent. Explain the corporate. Hold on, Trent. Trent. Explain the corporate tax. What's taxed?
Your revenue. But you got a lot of loop.
Did you hear what he said? Did you just hear what he said? Did everybody hear what he said? Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he said? This is a man who screamed. See, I screamed, but I know what I'm talking about. I just said, what's tax? He said in corporate tax, it's the revenue. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, companies don't hire because taxes go lower. They hire people because they need the people, like, regardless. I mean, come on, Trent. You know this.
Bro, have you run?
Hold on a second, Trent. Are you sure revenue? Hold on a second, Trent.
No,
One second. No, Trent.
We can't move from
Are you sure? One second, neoliberal. Trent, are you sure it's revenues?
Net income, yeah, your net income is high.
And you think net income is revenues?
Net
income is not revenue.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. What up on me? You think net income is revenues?
Yes, your net income is what, after you bring in all your revenues and expenditures, you get your net income.
You just said, no, you said net income is revenues.
It is revenues, in part.
Oh my God.
Why are you trying to have a what are you trying to have a business? Are you trying to tell me about? Please, because I'm sure you've hired so many people and run so many companies. Why don't you explain?
Well, Trent, I know what the difference between net income and revenue.
Hold on, Patty. Hold on, Mail. So now you're saying because I haven't hired a lot of people, I don't know what net income is. Is that what you're suggesting?
I know you know what net income is, but what?
No. Do you know what? Wait a second. Do you know what net income is? Yeah, what is it?
Yes, I know what net income is.
What is it? What is it?
Net income is after all your expenditures and your revenue. You take the revenue and then all your expenditures, and what you end up at the end of the year is your net income.
What is that called?
I just said it 5 seconds ago.
1 second. What is that called?
Net profit.
Got it. So let's go back to the original point. Profits aren't revenues. So you originally said that corporate taxes, hold on a second, Trent. You originally said that corporate taxes tax revenue. The reason why that matters is because if I have a bunch of money and I use it to invest in the company and hire people, am I using pre or post-tax dollars, Trent?
Post-tax dollars.
Using post-tax dollars.
And post, I'm trying to inflows.
Pre-tax dollars.
Did he say post-tax dollars?
Yes. He's not getting it. I wish my net income
gone bankrupt by now.
Never do it again.
Hey, I wish my net income was my revenue. I wish.
Never do it again.
Look. When companies have less money to work with,
I'll never do it again.
When companies have
the less money is on the profit.
Yes, I recognize
profit is not revenue.
Oh Lord.
Okay, so if you got $100 million in revenue and you only made $2 million in profit, why would they tax the $100 million in revenue when you still have to pay your employees and all this other shit? So make it make sense, bro.
I didn't say that. I mean,
you said it was
Trent said net income was revenue.
That's it. Trent, go on mute, bro. Just let somebody else, let other people speak.
So, Trent, you definitely, hold on, Mario. Trent, you definitely.
One thing, let me say this, I'll be done. Let me just say this, and I mean this. It's one thing to be wrong, but please do not insult me and other people because we haven't hired a bunch of people. And we don't know that. You have this I have it too, but I'm not wrong. You have a condescending, well, you haven't hired people, and you're blah, 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 blah. You said that net income was revenue. You said that it was post-tax. 3 ninth grade finance questions you got wrong, Mr. Big Money Grip. You don't hire anybody. You're an employee at Ford Motor Company who wears cheap suits, who thinks that he's in the Ford family. You're an employee.
Yeah, thanks. So
you're welcome. Don't bring him up.
Can we go back?
Big money. He think he boosters millions. Have you hired people? Well, clearly he hasn't hired people if he thinks net income is revenue.
Can we have hang on. Can we have a respectful conversation? Seriously. Look, here's what I'm saying. And Meg, I agree with you on a lot of things. The more you tax companies and the more you tax anyone, right, the less revenue
You insulted me while getting the very basics wrong. No,
okay, I apologize. I apologize for the water and the grass talking to you, but seriously, these are just. I'm glad we're having this discussion, right? We have a simple disagreement on where money should be placed. When I don't agree with taxing corporations because I know
you're a conservative. You're repeating yourself.
You don't agree with taxing corporations or increasing taxes on corporations?
I don't agree with increasing taxes.
So what should it be? So what should the number be? Watch this. What should the number be?
I don't know I think the number is fine where it is right now.
So why is 21 better than 28?
Why is 21? I don't see a whole bunch of pushback on the 21, right?
But you are pushing
Every
back.
Democrat voted against it. What are you talking about?
What? What are you talking about? Are you talking about from Republicans or what? What are you talking about?
Why is 21 better than 28 in terms of hiring? That's your argument. So in corporations, so let's use a test. Has hiring been better under the 21% regime? Has 21 been has the hiring regime 5 or 21?
Same.
Has the hiring been better under 35 or 21?
Yes.
In what context? I don't understand in the context.
The corporate tax rate. Are you listening? Or are you drunk already?
I should be. I don't. I don't remember when it was 35, and I don't know how to.
During Clinton's time, it was 35 that you love to extol, Mr. Balanced Budget.
Well,
yeah, I think Clinton corporate tax, I think it was 35.
But Reagan
was it 35?
I just said during this time.
The 90s were good. We had an expansion.
So it was 35% under Clinton. So why do you prefer 21? What was wrong with 35? This is your argument.
I think that anytime that you tax companies less, they hire and expand more. Now, what happened during the Clinton era, while it was good for job creation, it was great for job creation, there were also a lot of companies began a process of offshoring, and those two go hand in hand. We can
asking about the corporate tax rate.
Yes,
Trent, come on.
We'll talk about corporate tax rate without talking about corporate profits.
What was wrong? Well, obviously. So what was wrong with 35 and why is 21 better? It's a normative question. Just answer that.
Because the less money that you're taxing, the more that you have investment in hiring, plain and simple.
The less money that you are taxing, what does that mean?
The less money that is taxed, they're tired of listening to us, by the way. The less money that is taxed, the more money that you have to go to do other things. Well, the reason why I said that is because if you've ever had to run a department, you get a budget for hiring, right? If there is less money for whatever reason, you can only hire so many people to that amount.
So why not have any corporate tax rate? So why not make it 0?
I think you should have some corporate tax rate, honestly.
Why? You just undercut your argument.
Because
are you listening to yourself?
Yeah, because they use the services of the government.
So then, okay. So then, why not have it at 30 instead of 15?
That one I can't answer. I really don't have a good answer.
Cool.
I think around
a hiring boom that happened under each one of these tax cuts, even going all the way back to Reagan. When was there a hiring boom under these tax cuts?
I'm saying
Just Google it and figure this out.
I mean, Reagan only got like 16 million jobs.
There was no hiring boom under fucking Reagan, and he went down to 35%. So where was the hiring boom? I want somebody to put in there where the data shows investments, or there was something that showed that there was hiring increase. Not no fucking shareholder payout. I want to see fucking hiring increases. going back from Reagan up until now?
So most studies and meta-studies on this show there is modest, like super modest and statistically insignificant correlation. So non-existent that are like as a rule, lower taxes does not mean more hiring. Like it's statistically insignificant. You can't find it in data.
Yeah, you won't find it in data, but obviously then he said there is, he's arguing how these corporations hire. So I want him to pull this data that he's been reading. Because he does have an executive position, right? Or not?
It's just vibes.
This is
So was America? Are we saying America struggling under Reagan? Were we saying America was struggling under Reagan? Is that what your people are saying? I just want to understand. Like, what do we say about the Reagan times?
Ask Bush Senior, or see if you can pray to him and see if he can give you an answer. Because there was a reason why he raised.
I brought up Paula. Paula, you're right. I was being a shit. Do you have any comments on the tax argument? I apologize for yelling at you and Trent. Do you have any arguments, Paula?
I mean, I just came in a few minutes ago, but what kills me about people talking about the same talking points about tax rates, can you not see what's happening to our country?
What's happening about? We're talking about tax rates. You want to talk about tax rates?
Well, I mean, what tax rates is doing to our economy is killing our economy because it goes into their corporate pockets and then their friends and their family. It doesn't go into hiring more people.
Corporate taxes have never been lower.
They're 21% right now, right? Am I wrong about that?
That's the lowest I think it's been in American history.
But they do have loopholes. I'm not a tax person, but I'm very defensive of a tax person.
But it's never been lower in American history.
But that's my point. It shouldn't be this low. Because what's happening is it's killing our economy. There's so many people. I mean, I don't know where everyone's head is at. I mean, is it underneath it in soil deep inside? No, because I mean, like millions of people are losing their homes. Millions of people are unemployed. And my family members, okay, 2 of them just got laid off when they had IT jobs. Okay, so but my point is, and I'm a teacher, so I've been lucky enough, but I don't make any money, right? I'm not rich. So my point is, it's really bad. The economy is so bad. People aren't employed. They're living in their vans. They're living in their cars. This is what happens. Now, if you look over, I know you're not talking about this, but if you look over at another country that is socialist, which there are many, and I don't want to hear, oh, we don't want a socialist country because socialism is bad and they don't collect taxes. Are you freaking kidding me? Let me give Mexico as a perfect example. She's inviting corporations in, and they're fleeing to Mexico. Right now, I think it's Costco just made a statement that they make the most amount of money in Mexico. And you know why? Because they tax corporations, okay, appropriately. That's what you're supposed to do. So people there's supposed to be equity, okay? So it's always socialism for corporations and, or I should say welfare for the corporations, and we get taxed. They tax the crap out of us. I mean, look at your taxes when you get a paycheck, right? Look how much they take out anywhere from 25% and up, a quarter of your what's. Okay, so it's time we need to start taxing these corporations. America's behind. I mean, if you look at all these countries, what's going on right now? They're all making deals. Everyone's making a deal, and I'm sorry, but the country has fallen. It's falling. We need to do something.
We agree. So Trent, you said that in the chat. The 2004 corporate tax cut increased hiring significantly. What corporate tax cut was in 2004?
Corporate tax bill.
What corporate tax cut? Hold on, Trent. Trent, I'm asking you.
Hey, why did Paula's IT relatives, why did they get fired? Was it
Trent, Trent. What corporate tax rate was cut in 2004?
Paula, why did
Trent, what was the corporate tax rate cut in 2004?
I mean, if he's asking me a question, can I answer?
Hold on a second, Paula. Yeah, but he's got to answer mine first. Trent, what corporate tax cut was there in 2004?
Oh, there was one. I was half Bushman.
It's 2003, Trent.
In the chat, you said there was a corporate tax cut. So the max rate went from what to what in 2003, 2004?
I don't know. I was looking at it.
Before you talk, bro.
And Mac, is that the one that brought
Barack Obama actually re-signed in 2012 too?
No, there was no resetting of the corporate tax rate. The max rate was 35% until 2017.
Go. Let me get in there real quick. You're right. The max rate was 35% before 2017. The TCJA Act cut it down to 21%, right? And what was supposed to happen, it was supposed to incentivize everybody, right? Everything that you guys have been talking about. They're supposed to raise rates as far as payment rates for the employees, supposed to hire more people, get more equipment. But what they did,
but Gemini, we could go back to Reagan. We don't need a.
Let me finish real quick, Patty. Just real quick. Patty, let me finish real quick. I'm gonna be brief. What they did was buy back their own stock at a record-breaking rate. Is the highest stock buybacks by companies ever. Look it up. I'm not making this shit up, right? So as they started buying back their stocks and rewarding their investors and giving the money disproportionately to the higher end supervisors, it wasn't going to the lower end employees. So it did not stimulate the economy. As far as hiring practices, it went up like 1% or less as far as the people that were hiring, but record-breaking stock buybacks. So no, trickle-down economics doesn't work. It's been disproven multiple times. And the TCJA Act of 2017 is one of the examples. It's a prime example.
So let's just take Paula example. Are you saying if we had higher corporate tax rates, that her family houses would have been saved? I mean, no one even questioned where she came up with that. Like that would have been. Like her family would have been saved, like they wouldn't have lost their job because if we had a 28% tax. That was ridiculous.
Why did they lose their job? You got to know that.
Right. Oh, I know why. Because of the tax cuts from Trump. That's what we heard. That's what she said. So
no, I didn't say because of that. What I said was the economy, because of the corporations pay practically no taxes, right? Forget about the 21%, just the loopholes. What I'm saying is they're not investing that money, reinvesting it in this economy. So my point is these corporations, a lot of them either are hurting for some reason, even if they're not paying taxes. There's just a lot of stuff going on in the economy. I don't know. I only know about one that specifically he worked for a place called Tech System. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's probably one of those big tax companies. All I know is that they hired 15 people from a veterans organization where they help veterans find jobs. Okay, hired 15 people, and I think as of January of this year, they've laid off 5 of them. So what does that tell you about this economy? And I did go to Reddit to Google it to find out what's going on. And it said, because there was an insider on Reddit saying that they're outsourcing the jobs to India slowly. So there you go.
Paula.
It's been going on for a long time.
You'll get, that's true. And you can tell.
I mean, there's a book by Thomas L. Friedman, The World is Flat. I mean, that was an old book, and it explains the offshoring and globalization. So, I don't know.
What is going on? What is the conversation?
Yeah.
It's been a good 2 hours. We've been all over the place.
Mari, what you're putting in the chat is not a corporate tax rate, bro.
I didn't say corporate tax rate. I didn't say that.
That's what we're talking about.
I know
the whole conversation.
But I asked about one of the Bush tax cuts. Didn't Obama actually? I didn't say corporate. I specifically never said corporate, and somebody said no. I don't know who said that, but somebody said no. I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn he also extended some of Bush tax cuts. So that's all.
We did.
It wasn't about corporate. Yeah. So.
I don't know. I feel like
so. Trent, where was the court? 1 second. Trent said there was a corporate tax cut in 2004 that spurred hiring. This is a major point in his argument. Where increased hiring significantly in 2004. He said. Trent, what bill was it in 2004? And how much hiring did it spur?
I don't know. In 2004, there was a tax rule. And after that, because that's actually, I remember that's when we started hiring.
I said corporate tax cut, not the individual tax cuts or capital gains. Not the capital gains tax cuts, not the individual federal income tax cuts. not the. I think there was the state stuff as well.
So I'm trying to look at it.
No, the conversation's about corporate.
Yeah, I guess technically, I guess it's not a corporate tax cut because we were a corporation, so I'm trying to.
Technically, the conversation was about corporate tax cuts.
I recognize what why do you got to be so like? Why are you so angry?
Well, because I told you I was angry because of the
Do you have a woman to take care of you?
And she's black. What is yours?
Well, good.
You can't get a black woman.
Oh well, let's not talk about who can pull more. I don't think we want to do that.
You sure? You want to put your Barbie up next to mine?
I don't think you do.
I don't think you do.
No, I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. You want to put your kids up? How many kids you got?
Oh, come on. No, man. Come on.
Mr. Cyril. So what happened when you had your own kids?
No, I actually got a vasectomy. I don't have any biological.
As a condition of your parole.
What?
Jesus.
I'm dead. That's great.
That's great.
Come on.
Go. What the fuck?
So again, the point was I was talking. Let me explain what happened. I was talking about corporate tax cuts. We all were. Give me 1 second, Trent. I want to see people see how it happens because I'm better at roasting. People think I started it, and I didn't. You actually did. You said that the Bush corporate tax cut increased hiring significantly. And then I kept harping on it. And 1 second, Trent, I kept harping on it. And you said, don't you have a woman? So it was actually Trent who brought in the person.
I did say that.
Hold on a second, Trent. Hold on a second, Trent. Because Jane Daniels got hurt again.
Why are you so angry?
Because Jane Daniels I'm telling you.
Let's have a conversation.
I apologize. I said because Jane Daniels got hurt.
Have shitty team.
I said Jane Daniels got hurt, so I'm just placing it on y'all. I apologize.
I'm 2-8. And I'm 2-8.
Trent, I got it. You haven't played yet. Jane Daniels just got hurt again. No one's worried about Geno Smith.
But the skin season was over well before.
The whole conversation was about corporate taxes. And rather than you saying I was wrong, there was no corporate tax cut, you have to dig in and then say, do I have a woman?
I shouldn't have said that.
I know you should. No, sir. I don't know why you think that you can pull. By the way, you pulling a bunch of Mexican women down in Texas does not impress me at all.
Oh, boy. Okay, we're gonna get off of that.
Change the subject, Trent. Change the subject.
Again, you pulling a bunch of women who like you because you're an American citizen does not impress me.
But I also look good. But
it doesn't matter. You know what? If you went to the Northeast Corridor, you pull no one.
Probably not. But we only.
Trent, don't admit that.
No, I don't really like. I've been to DC, and no, that wasn't my.
And you pulled no one because you're a cornball of the highest order with no money.
No, I don't know about all that. Now I do. Now New York was a different story. But
New York, which part of New York, Trent? Please tell me.
What? I was in White Plains and Manhattan. These were my younger years, and New York was that was an experience. It's like LA, but different. But anyway, we'll get off that.
Don't attack people personally if you don't want them to respond.
What do you think about this Baltimore game now?
Hold on. No, we owned a California corporation at this time. And I was director of marketing, general manager. And after those tax cuts, I remember this well because it was after 2003, just after the war had begun. That's when our hiring boomed and our company took off. And so now you're correct. I'm looking back now. There was a corporate tax bill, but it was an individual tax cut. But we had more money and more resources, and maybe it was more billing than reality. But it was that period between 2003 and 2004, and especially 2005 when things began to take off before we had the crash in 2007. So I think that cutting taxes and putting more people into average Americans' pockets spurs the economy.
That has nothing to do with corporate taxes.
I understand what Paula is saying, and I think we end up. I've already said we will end up in socialism, Paula. With AI, which when you said they were in IT, I was wondering if it was AI. With AI and the things that are coming, we will end up as a socialist country in the 2030s. There's almost no doubt in my mind, because of some of the things that are happening. I just tend to think taxing Americans and taxing companies is not the best way to spur economic growth when you're talking about a capitalist system.
So why not send the tax to zero and have full employment in the entire economy? Can you explain that to me?
Are you American?
I'm not American, but I'm a permanent resident. So I have some skin in the game.
No, but I wasn't saying that to be rude. I was asking like where you're from. Ask the question again.
You from here and you said a bunch of stupid shit. So what's going on?
No. I just asked if he was American because in the context of the question. Can you ask it again? Because I don't.
Yeah, sure. So I was asking, why not send corporate tax to zero and, by your argument, have full employment in the economy? Like, at what level should we set corporate tax to, Trent?
I know that's a tough. I'm not an economist, and I have economist friends, and I'd rather ask them. I don't know. There's a lot of different factors. That's why I don't like comparing the 1950s and the 1980s economy, which is now damn near 50 years ago, to the economy today. There's a lot of differences in the way our economy is run, and a lot of things that we're going to face in the future, with humanoid robots and AI and the things that are coming. So I really don't know. And I'm okay with saying I don't know everything.
Okay,
I tend to think. I know this typically. When there is more money in the system and companies are making more, they hire more, right? That's just been a constant throughout my 25 years in business. You can take it for what it's worth. I've worked with some pretty darn good companies. But when it feels like income is restricted, especially when we're talking about taxation, that's when we see job cuts. And I've had to make those decisions on the other side.
But Trent, I think the issue you're missing is that companies don't make profit in a vacuum, right? There's a whole universe of infrastructure and various systems that allow for companies to generate profits, right? And these systems require support. And how we support those systems is via taxation, right? And so, like, how do you square that with your thoughts on corporate taxation?
Difference. So if you're talking between the way a Fortune 1000,